That's it. We're back. Very sorry about that, guys. My internet decided to lob off and I lost it for a bit. So I've made another hangout now. Unfortunately, Cammy had to go. Leisha had to go. Lucy had to go to work. Is that it? That's who we've lost. Bling Bling's coming back in a minute. So Becky is still here. Roxanne's here. Patricia's here, and she's got some questions she still wants to ask. And I'm here. Hello back, lady. Sorry about that.
Oh. The ladies that are...
Hello?
Hello? I think it cut off a little bit for a minute.
Frequency.
Here we go.
Sorry, Roxanne. I hear you. You broke off.
We're hearing about frequencies before we were interrupted by the loss of signal. That's where we were at, right?
That weird.
Oh,
I lost it. I lost the thing we were talking about. Anyway, carry on, Becky.
Okay, so with the frequencies, we feel, the whole, right now, like the weather is getting controlled by a lot of frequencies. And so, talking about them trying to take people out in this world and having all the catastrophes, we feel like that's the way that they're doing it, like just right under us, or right in front of our eyes, and nobody knows it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
So that was one of the things that we feel they're just controlling. And, this year alone, we've had so much catastrophes and, with the dew attacks and everything, it's pretty evident, that those are man-made, with the fires in California. So I don't know if you've looked into that with the dew attacks, the lasers, how they're starting fires and taking out certain parts.
It's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, they're talking about the coastal areas. So a lot of people are telling me, like, leave Florida or, I was like, well, I'm either in Florida or California. And they're like, well, both places aren't really good to be at right now, So, but such as Greece, they're trying to take out that area because of the government. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of things are man-made in order to, take out some of the population. But we think that, yeah,
it's right under our noses. We're actually watching it happen, and lots of people don't realize.
Yep. Like that's why 9/11 was such a big thing. It's a lot of it's not real, but it's real at the same time. They don't even care how many people it took out. It was the fact of doing what they had to do, and they don't even care. And I feel that that's really sad. So it's a hard reality.
That day didn't change anything for the better, did it? It just made things worse.
It's scary because you don't know what they're going to do next, Just kind of like sitting here waiting and we don't have any control over it.
Yeah, because they've already got HAARP, they've already got CERN, they've already got the chemtrails, playing games with our clouds in the skies, the frequencies, the 5G, no real testing going on here. It's just ridiculous. They're going to make sure we're too far into something and we can't come back at this rate, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, good point.
Did you want to add anything then, Roxanne?
What was the question again? Things that we were researching into, yeah?
Oh, well, you were talking about frequencies then. I just wondered if you wanted to add anything to the frequency bit.
No, I was just interested to hear about it.
Have you heard anything about that before?
Personally, I've just looked into frequencies with sound and how that kind of correlates to a lot of the things that we see with the luminaries up in the sky. A lot of the same patterns that are made by the stars, they're kind of resonated through to sound frequencies. And I've kind of scraped around the edges, but it's very evident that you kind of got to slow down as an individual to look at these things. And we can all kind of skim over the top sometimes, but I think for those that have slowed down and dedicated some time and looked at specific subjects, I think we could all learn a lot from individuals that have got mileage under their belt of taking the time to look at one specific subject.
That's how we started looking into frequencies, because of the luminaries. And so that's how we kind of like tied everything in. And so that's what got us started on frequency. And it's quite interesting. I love watching videos on on somoluminescence and everything, because you could create stars in a jar. And actually, that's an experiment that we're going to be trying soon. Um, with Robbie Skykiller. He's in LA. We haven't met him in person, but we're going to be traveling across the country, meeting a few YouTubers, and connect and do, live shows. And then when we go see Robbie in California, where my family is, we're actually going to be doing stars in the jar to just kind of see how that whole thing works, because we've always wanted to do it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I think it's pretty amazing that you can actually do that, right at home.
Mm. Again, something that's measurably observable and repeatable. So that's another, notch on the list of things that we can have that's, like I said, observable. It's awesome. It's awesome that people are doing that.
I think somebody...
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry. Trouble About has joined us. Trouble About lives in Australia. Sorry, Trouble About. We were on the Hangout. My internet decided to go off, and then I've had to remake the Hangout and come back. So hi, Trouble.
That's okay. Good morning.
I've got to a bit low. Yeah, you're on with Becky, and she's from the Boogie Man channel, and obviously Roxanne, Glenn, Patricia, and me, and Bling Bling should be back.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks, darling.
Hey, Trouble. Australia doesn't exist, does it?
I can believe that when you sent that to me. I thought that was ages ago, but he just said it recently. It's like, oh.
That guy's gone now. He seems to have deleted all of his videos. Thank God.
Like, I can get that we might be in the wrong place and maybe the wrong size-ish, but to not exist. Where the hell are the kangaroos and koalas then?
But you know what? We kind of proved in that context that talking about that. We just went, Astral suddenly went like really late at night. Go on, let's have a hangout. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. And we started having this hangout. Anyway, it got to about 7 o'clock, whatever it was, 7 o'clock in the morning. It was Sunday morning for me, 7:30. It was about whatever it was, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon for you. But it was still 11:30 in California the day before.
Yeah, I remember that.
So we sort of disproved that one straight away then. And if they completely put you in the wrong day and you should be a day behind, and they put you a day ahead. But then it's always going to happen to somebody, isn't it? So I don't know where. Yeah, I don't know how we thought that one out. But you were definitely in another day to America.
Yes, yeah. And we all three of us saw the sun at the same time.
Roxanne's an activist. She's Corner. She's going to be joining John Smith. Becky is from the Boogie Man channel, and they do a lot where they think everything's a lot of it is a simulation. Yeah.
Yep. I was just going to ask about what's it like. Do you do a lot of filming, in Australia?
Yeah, I have since I got the P900.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, my husband's been always talking about Australia and how you can actually see a lot more from where you're at than where we are, because we look a lot into the skies. And so, when do you usually film? Do you usually just do like nights and sunrises?
I don't do much of the sun because I can't see sunrise and sunset from my house. I have to go across the road and into another estate, and I can't see the sun very, very well at all because I don't drive, so I don't get very far from my house. Mostly, I'm just the sky. I was photographing the moon for a few years because I had strokes and my sight went all weird, and so I've been using the moon as a reference to how much my sight's improving. So I've spent a long time looking at it, but yeah, lately I've been mostly stars lately because I'm sort of all mooned out. And so now I just photograph anything. The last few days I've been doing lightning, because we've had thunderstorms.
Oh, that's always really cool to get.
Yeah.
Tell Bling Bling's back with us, by the way. Just to say hi, Bling Bling. Becky, tell
Hey guys.
Trouble what you were doing, what you've done. You were talking about it, making lightning.
Oh, with the we had used the frequency. You talk about the frequency, like thing that we play. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat because it's a very interesting video because we did this on accident, playing this frequency, and we thought that it was because we were able to control it. We played this certain clip, and it's a really funny clip because it's my husband speaking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And we were trying to prove something to one of our friends, Robbie Sky Killer. And so we realized that when we played that same clip, it made the cicadas ring louder, and the nature was just acting really funny. But then every time we played it, at a certain point, we would create a little bit of lightning. And we tried this 3 times in a row, and it went off.
Clip.
Yeah, and then we were freaking out, and we were like, okay, well, let's put this online. We had everyone downloaded. We had a few of our friends try it, and they videoed it, and it worked for them as well. So one of Raina Jennings, she tried it, and it worked the first time. I think she did it like another time after that, and then her husband just didn't believe it. So he had to go out and try it because he's not. I believe he's doesn't really look into, you know, the skies and all the lights and stuff too much, but he went out there and tried it, and his jaws dropped to the ground. We had a few people try it and videoed it, and we were just kind of taken aback. Like, is this kind of dangerous? You know what I mean? If we could control it with our phone, with the frequency we have, imagine what they're doing with lightning and weather out there with a bigger frequency. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just it just shows you how much fakery there is out there, and it's hard to swallow sometimes, you know. But I don't know. That was just kind of the new thing that we're doing, is the frequency thing, and it's a little mind blowing.
Yeah, it is.
I think it is when you're recording it all. You know.
Yeah.
You might have seen a bit of Stan Smith, you know, and he uses all his stuff, records it and puts it in a virtual reality headset, and then it just totally changes what you're seeing.
Wow. Yeah.
You have Dave Marsh as well, you know, and he's obviously done the moon race, testing out and everything. So it's really great. I think it changes your life forever, I think, again, doesn't it, when you've actually recorded it all.
Yeah, I always have to record it because a lot of people don't believe what we do, because it's just like there's no way that that's happening. So, you know, Andrew would record, or he will be doing, you know, whatever we're doing, and I'm filming him recording it. That way, everyone knows that it's live, you know, and there's no cuts. You know, a lot of people say either Photoshop, CGI. I'm like, CGI is pretty complicated. Like, we could barely do Photoshop, you know. And I just think it's so funny, you know. I don't know if it's like trolls or whatever people want to wait.
CGI is easier than Photoshop.
Is it?
It's not difficult. You have a green screen and you have a program, and I use Final Cut Pro, and it does all the work for me. I just set the settings. Yeah.
Oh, see, I've never tried it, but
it'll show up whatever background you put in it. You do a couple layers on Final Cut Pro. It's just, I don't know if you use Final Cut Pro. It's just,
that's what we use.
You have one clip, and then you put another clip underneath it, and you have to go into you have to select like the green screen. It's not even called that. It's called something else. I'm so sorry, I can't even think of it right now. You just drag it over top of it, and it instantly changes the background. Now, as long as you're not wearing like the same thing, like
the same color, or else you'll disappear.
Pretty much.
You'll be a floating head. I see.
You know, I've done it. It's not hard. It's
really
okay. It's
okay. I've never been able to really
programs
do it.
To do it live, like Hori does it. I don't know if you watch Hori, or a sheet show. He does it live, simply with another little program that he has, and he's able to live stream him looking like he's riding around in the Tesla with
that's so
space
funny.
in the background with all that stuff. But yeah, that's really easy stuff.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, now the better quality, like, so you don't have any fuzzing around the hands, or around the halos, around the head. You know, that's a higher level. But I've seen that kind of crap in NASA footage, so I know that.
I know. You would think they would be. You would think they would be better at it.
No kidding, right? But no, they're actually, I think they have a lot of different people that work on these things, and some people are better at it, or some people are sabotaging. I'm starting to think that maybe there's some sabotaging going on. That's why I've been able to find certain things that should not be there. If that's somebody's job, you know, to make sure they're fooling you, then they're doing it more like how a movie would be edited. Like, not meaning Terminator, because there's so many editing mistakes in Terminator. It's funny. I don't know if you ever watched that, but you know, other movies, like, let's say the one with Sandra Bullock, Gravity, like this amazing space movie. Yeah, you can't find any glitches or anything that would make you go, oh, that's obvious. Or the movie Apollo 13, they did it. They filmed in a parabolic plane, and they did a brilliant job of that. You know, so yeah, if a movie can do it, make it look picture perfect, how come NASA can't?
Well, no, and like you were saying, it's almost like they do it in plain sight to kind of see who catches it or something.
Well, I'm starting to think that some employees are begruntled, you know, like they're like, what the heck? What are we doing here? And then purposely leaving little breadcrumbs for us to find.
I think so. I really think so, because there's no way.
Because
I know, right?
The older stuff, before the technology got better, the older stuff is much easier to find problems with it. Now the newer stuff is more difficult. They've really gotten very good at it, yet still so often, like, to me, the perfect example is the video where they're standing there and one's holding a hat, and he just looks like he's going to pass the hat, but he doesn't. So the other guy thinks, oh, I'm getting the hat. So he makes that hand motions like he's transferring the hat from one hand into the other hand, and then hanging it on the wall, all with nothing in his hands. Looks so stupid. And then at the same time, in the background, the guy from Japan is on a harness, and his joystick is sticking up out of his back, and you see that.
Oh, I know. I know.
Me,
it's hilarious.
There's no way that someone doing their job would allow all those things to happen at once unless they wanted it to. And I think they did that on purpose.
I know.
I'm loving them for it. The ones that are like protesting and saying, I've had enough, I don't want to play this game anymore. There can't be that many, because again, it's a secret, and so they can't have a lot of people, you know, doing this kind of stuff. Like, I know Matthew Powerland, or Matthew Boylan, or whatever he calls himself. You know, he did not work for NASA. He's a liar. I hate to say that, but I saw his ex-girlfriend video where she says that he made that up so he would be able to get more views, more viewership, more subscribers on his channel. He never worked for NASA.
It's annoying for all of the people that are, you know, really doing stuff.
Yeah, right. I mean, let's give him the kudos. He's an excellent artist. There's no question. He's good, but he never worked for NASA. Had he done that for the government, he would have signed every single non-disclosure. Like my husband, who has secret security clearance, he's had to sign so many things. That's one reason he doesn't say anything or even watch a video on any of this, is because of his job. Okay, so you can't just work for NASA, and then turn around and say that you did and you were faking it. It would never happen. You would be sued. You'd be so in trouble. You couldn't run around doing that. So
or he'll be dead, really.
Or that too. So
I think so. Yeah.
He's making it up, and I mean, a lot of people believe him, but I know better. I know how it works because my husband does work for the federal government. So don't try to pull that crap. Just be honest. because your
Yep.
photorealistic stuff is that good. Yeah, it can fool people, but you don't need to
Mhm.
say that you worked for them to get people's attention. It's not necessary. Just be honest, because his stuff is good. And he's pretty
Mhm.
interesting to listen to, when he's talking about certain things. And, he's got a morning show now. I don't know if anyone knows that. Sometimes
Wait,
I'll see it on
what's his name? I'm gonna
Matthew
look him up.
Powerland.
Matthew.
You see, you really are in a different segment of Flat Earth. He's the original channel on the topic on Flat Earth. He used to do Flat Earth comedy, and it's actually very funny.
Really? Oh.
Brilliantly done. He's a French Canadian.
Mhm.
So he's
I
got.
always find that though. Someone will say to me, "Do you know this channel?" I think, no, you
I'm
can't know
shocked.
it.
I'm
You can't.
shocked that there's a whole segment out there with bigger channels that are like, don't know him. So you didn't know who I was either. Like, that's just, how does this happen to us? I just find that quite fascinating. Like, how did we not know about each other? How do we only know about, like, I mean, with like Patricia Steer and Globebusters, and, like, how are you not involved with them? Like, Patricia definitely needs to have you on her show. She always starts new channels on her show like that, and does a whole segment just you and her, and it's a really great segment. Shocked that you haven't done that. How weird. That's so
Well, we
weird to
all
me,
get
because
together, and Sun and
I'm
Moon
pretty
can help get people together. That's what we
nothing
like to
against
do.
Karen. Oh my word, no, no, no. It's just when I think about viewership, and I don't know why I think that Sun and Moon should have all of 14,000 subscribers by now. Like,
I know.
they're monkeying, because I watch now on when we're live streaming and I'm in chat on Globebusters, and I see it on Patricia's show as well. I see the likes are going away, and it's just the weirdest phenomenon. Like, but then one day I thought, you know what, I want to go and see some other people that are doing a live stream, but it's not anything to do with anything except something really non-relevant, like someone doing a makeup tutorial or someone gaming and playing a video. Yet they had thousands of likes. They had been streaming for a couple hours and no problems. Yet all of the flat earth channels that are live streaming have been having their likes monkeyed with. So it is definitely real. It's not like, oh, we're just being paranoid. No, I saw it with my own eyes. I went and I looked at other live channels the other day when Globebusters was on. In fact, they weren't on this past Sunday. I don't know why I was going to ask Cammie that, but the week before that, I did it as a test for myself, and I did it to Matthew Powerland as a test to see same results. People are live streaming, makeup tutorial, hundreds of likes. Flat Earth, the likes go down to 0 when there's
No,
hundreds of people in the chat.
it really is that, and it's weird because we had this happen last week.
There
We
you
had a
go.
video,
See?
and then it was okay. I think we posted at 5 p.m. And then once we released that video and it had the word flat earth in it, we were losing subscribers 10 an hour for 4 hours. Okay.
See?
And then we took that off, and guess what? We started gaining again. Is that wild or what?
That is definitely their algorithms monkeying
for
with
sure.
us. Can't be just a person, right? It's got to be a computer program. And this
Yeah,
time,
it's wording
and
for
absolutely,
sure,
it's anything that you're putting in as your tag words. And I'm very
title.
careful what I write in there, because I don't want that to happen to me. When I upload a video, I want all my subscribers to know about it. But many channels that I subscribe to, it's like, gee, I haven't seen them put out anything in a while, and I'll go and hear they had just done a video like last week, which I didn't get notified.
You don't get you don't get notified.
I'm on their channels. It's like Facebook does this too, but maybe on Facebook, if you're not looking at someone's channel, you're not seeing any of their updates, notifications, even though you've got them selected as your first, like your friends, first choice that you want to see in your news feed. Still doesn't work, because all kinds of family members, because I don't go on Facebook that much. I'll be like, what's going on with so-and-so? I haven't seen them forever. And then I'll go, and they were posting all the time, all this time for months, and I hadn't seen anything. So I just didn't think about them. So, but for us flat earthers, conspiracy theorists, truthers, you better believe it. They're doing that to us. And you try to Google flat earth now, and what do you get? All stuff trying to debunk us, which they do a terrible job, because they can't.
Yeah, does it happen to you, Roxanne, then? Do you see the same thing? I'm sure you do. Roxanne?
Is she muted?
Sorry, no, I'm here.
Yeah, do you get the same thing with all the disappearing, up and down, roundabout on your channel?
I'm sick and tired of it. They go right in front of my very eyes. On the back bit, I've got my live events, and I look at my videos. This is all over the place. All over the place.
Weird, isn't it?
All over the place.
I've made a couple of little videos about it. I have 2 on Sun and Moon about these really weird things. And quite often, I don't know about you, Becky, like on your panel, your admin panel, it'll say this figure, and showing live, it shows a quarter of the figure. So it looks like no one's looking at looking at your video or whatever you've done. And actually your admin panel shows, and it'll stay like that for maybe a day or 2.
Yeah, I know that there's some videos definitely are getting hidden. And people even tell us, even on our lives, that they don't even see us, and they get mad about it because they want to hang out on the live. They want to talk to everybody, and they want to, but if we had to change things around, like you said, we have to smush words into our descriptions just so that we don't get hidden.
Well, the thing is, what I think though, I mean, people always pass videos around, so don't worry so much about the title of your video when you have a good subscriber base.
Yeah.
They're going to watch your videos. And I had a video go viral about the fly that I found walking around outside the cupola. And I couldn't believe the amount of views that I had on it. And it wasn't really titled in any special way that would really jump out at you. And Globebusters also featured it on their 24-hour channels. So I got a lot more subscribers because of it. Pushing towards 10,000 now. And I don't put flat earth in my titles. I'll put a short little thing, and sometimes it has nothing to do with the video, but people will still watch it. And if they like it, they're going to share it around, and it'll be watched, and you'll have the views, and you'll get your new subscribers. But you start putting in certain keywords, and your video. My son, here's an example. Andrew in Atlanta, who does not watch, and he feels bad. He says, "Mom, I feel so bad. I didn't know your videos were so good." He said, "You won't believe it, Mom. The other day he was on YouTube, and I know he was not looking at conspiracy stuff because he's just not doing that." He said that as a recommended video, mine came up.
Oh.
Yeah, and he doesn't look at conspiracy. I'm always trying to get him to do it, but it's not his interest. It's fine. He's pretty much
a bit shocked, was he, then, to see his mum there?
That's why he was so, "Mom, you won't believe it, and I'm so sorry because your stuff's so good. You do such a good job." And I said, "Well, Andrew, I've been trying to get you to watch my stuff for so long." He's like, "I'm so sorry," but how weird that it came up as a recommended video when I should have asked. I'm going to ask him, what were you watching, if you even remember, or what do you watch on YouTube? If he's not watching flat earth stuff like us, I don't know what normal people watch, like non-flat earthers. What do they watch? He's 99% a flat earther, but to him, it's not the thing that changed his life. Like for us, for whatever reason, for Andrew, it wasn't a life-changing experience to know about it. He definitely knows that the space station is complete fakery, thanks to the videos that I've forced him to watch when I've made them. But 99% flat earther, not wanting to go and watch the ones that I watched to really blow my mind, where I didn't sleep for 3 weeks. And it did take me 8 months to accept the reality of the truth but that's years of 54. What was I, 52 at the time? That's a lot of indoctrination to undo, right? So it's harder for
Bling,
someone
if you thought
older.
about it, Bling Bling, we've got
Yes.
you, ISS space station. We've got Becky. I know we had more on the other hangout, but here now we've got Becky is doing the sky and well, we're living in a simulation. Patricia's well, she's a bit like my secretary and really helps me and is a really good friend. Blah blah blah. Got Roxanne doing activism, and we've also got Trouble taking pictures. All doing completely different things in Flat Earth, but
good variants of proofs and things to look at and things to question
Roxanne,
as a globe believer.
Yeah, she's out with the public and flat smacking. All doing.
I want to do some public flat smacking. I do flat smack over the phone. You know, I'm a talker, right? So whenever I have to call anywhere, I manage to work it in the conversation. I booked my ticket to go visit my husband. I managed to work it in, and I had her captivated, and she was like, I'm gonna get off the phone and I'm gonna Google everything you said. Totally like one of those people that you just love to have because they're not closed-minded, and I blew her mind with what I told her. So I really love that. And then I had to call, I don't know if it was Macy's, I don't know where I called another one recently. I did the same thing to her. Like, I do flat smack over the phone, but I've never actually gone out in public other than when I'm wearing a flat earth t-shirt and I'm in the grocery store and then someone says flat earth and I'll turn around and I'm like, yeah, and I'll talk about it. But never do what you do. I think
we need to walk around with flat earth t-shirts on because that's in their faces, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Can I just say, Roxanne just messaged me. She's got to leave us shortly.
Who's leaving? Roxanne is? Are you going live tonight, Roxanne? I haven't seen you
I'm going to be
doing
a little update from the tour bus and giving everyone a synopsis of where that's going to be over the next few days. And if you girls are still on, I'm up for coming back.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't seen you live for a couple of days, so it's like, what happened to Roxanne? So either I wasn't getting your notifications, or you took a break.
YouTube been messing with my notifications big time. I've been going live more or less every day with the tour.
There you go. See, not getting them, honey, because I like to go in your chat room. Not getting them. No sense.
Yeah, it actually really helps to maybe like do a video that morning of to let people know. They sometimes at least get that video, you know, that you're going to go live. That's what we've been trying to do to kind of push it, you know, kind of like what you did, Karen, a couple of days ago with this live feed. So people are like, it works. It works really well.
One of those, I don't know how people do it. I haven't tried it, but I've seen other people do this where instead of a video, it's just like an announcement. You don't click on nothing. It just says something.
Yes, I know.
I saw that. I don't know how you do that. I want to know. I don't know.
That would be the perfect thing.
Can we just say Roxanne needs to go? Do you want to tell everybody what you're doing again, Roxanne?
No worries. I'm going to go and do a live link with the tour. Harry and Chris finished off in Perth today, and they're going off to the next destination tomorrow. And we're going through some bits and pieces from some events that we've got coming up. Like I said, in Speakers Corner, Hyde Park, the 28th. We've got some more details about that, some more details about the end of tour finale, and some more details about where and when the boys are going to be over the next few days. And I'm going to be joining the tour for a week from the 19th and doing live links every day from the tour bus.
So cool. I wish this was a North American tour.
Can't exactly go out and Karen, if you're still live in a little while, I'm happy to come back, my darling. And thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome being amongst such wonderful women tonight. Great.
Hey,
we're in good company with you, Roxanne. That's for sure. With what you're doing.
Bless you, darling.
Well, it's
bless you, Roxanne. Karen, you do amazing.
Smack the shit out of that, Roxanne.
You do an absolutely amazing Karen, and I want to sincerely thank you for doing this. It's brilliant to see so many women conversing with each other in such a positive way. So that's a really good example. It's awesome. Big kisses and hugs to you all, girls.
Yeah, thank you, Roxanne. And to you for all you do. Thank you.
No worries. And big love to the chat room. Thank you so much. Remember to like and share and make everyone aware of what Karen's doing. Please do. Big love and kisses to everybody.
And love to the guys from us too, honey. Make sure you pass
Will do.
on.
All right, ladies.
Thank
love
you,
to you.
Roxanne. Thank
Bye,
you.
Roseanne. Nice to meet you.
Take care, guys.
Bye,
Bye.
Roxanne.
Bye.
Bye, Ellen.
So
Right.
that's another one from our flat Earth movement.
Yeah.
That is
Can I just?
that.
Patricia's still got a question to ask you, lady.
Actions. Oh.
Patricia.
Yeah, sorry. It takes me a while to take the mouse off. Yeah, it's more individual questions, but Roxanne's gone now, but Bling Bling.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much a question, but you know, you were saying earlier about it was weird that people at these fake things that you were going to and that they were saying, oh, these were made by
Oh no, that was my example, like a eulogy. Like I was saying, like it's just very strange that people, the astronauts, always want to say human. They use the word human so much, yet we don't. As humans, we don't go around saying these cookies were made by human hands.
Hey, Bling.
Yeah.
You know, it just
Bling,
doesn't make
Bling.
any sense.
Bling Bling, are you human?
Yeah, of course, right? We kind of know that already.
Patricia, you're humans.
Yeah, it's just I
It'd be
came
like
across
me saying that my son Andrew is a man. That'd be like me constantly saying, you know, Andrew the man, my son, the man, he's a man. Like you'd be like,
The
why do you
man
keep saying he's
human.
a man? We know he's a
Woman
man.
Becky, woman Bling Bling, woman Trouble,
You
woman
know,
Patricia. It doesn't sound right, does
right?
it?
If we talk to each other like that, we'd all sound mad. Yet these astronauts, pay attention next time. They're frickin' doing it a lot, and that's really starting to make me think that there is something else going on. I never believed in
Maybe
aliens
they're not
before.
real. Maybe they're just computer generated, which is why they glitch.
Yep. Yeah, maybe they're not human. That's why.
They're not.
They're not human. I've never noticed that. I gotta pay
It's just
attention to that next time.
freaking me out now. It's starting to get to the point where I'm like, well, my video's coming out. You'll see. I've inserted a bunch of it. It's like, shut up already. Stop saying humans. I get it. We are humans, right? Like, aren't we? Like, what are you? Just really, really weird. I've
Yeah.
never in my life thought to have to continually tell people that whatever it is that I'm talking
Bling,
about
no,
is
you're an
made by
alien.
humans. You know, we bought some bread from the store that was made by humans.
Wait, are you an alien then, Bling Bling?
What's that doing?
Are you an alien? I said it's a joke. It doesn't
I'm
matter.
thinking maybe somebody is. Like, maybe we're the aliens. I don't know. Oh, I wanted to say, I've never believed in them because I've never had anything happen in my life to make me think. But Margaret did. And she's an honest person. I've known her for almost 9 years. She's lived with me for 8 years. And she's told me a story that happened when she was a kid. She lives in Florida her whole life. And she was with her little friend, and they were making popcorn, and they had no butter at Margaret's house. So they decided to run across the street to get butter from her little friend's house. And while they were running across the street, they saw a freaking spaceship that was hovering over the neighborhood that was so ginormous. And they both said, we need to go get our families right now because they're never going to believe this. So Margaret ran, got her family. The other little girl ran and got hers. Everyone was outside looking at the spaceship. And then at some point it stopped, hovering and decided to start traveling. And Margaret's mom and dad got in their car and followed it until all of a sudden it went supersonic and was gone. And it's
I
a true
filmed
story.
my own things, by the way. I've even captured that triangle thing over Thatcham. I've got a couple
you've
of pictures.
had stuff. See,
I've seen things. I've seen things flying extremely fast, really low to the ground. I've seen really weird things in the sky. I've seen a fair thing like that.
I watch the sky a lot, hoping to see something to make me think, okay, there is, and that would explain so much more to me about what's going on with the government. But never. And it's like a lot of people won't. Yeah, they don't look up at night. But I live in the country, spend a ton of time looking at the stars. Never. I'm always looking. And my son, too. We're both sort of obsessed about it. Yeah, little girl walking out of her house sees a freaking spaceship with lights, everything. I know she's not lying. She's telling me the truth. Her sisters confirmed it because they all saw it, too. I've asked them separately because I was a bit of a skeptic because I didn't believe in this stuff, aliens. But Yeah, it happened now. Unless the government has some kind of flying saucer thing that they just cruise around neighborhoods and then, to freak people out. I don't know. It doesn't sound like that, though. It sounds like if you go on these websites, sightings, UFO sightings, there's hundreds of them. Those people all can't be lying. Why would they bother,
No, they're
right?
unidentified flying objects at the moment. But Patricia
Yeah.
had a question. She's got her microphone off. Bling bling.
Oh, she does.
Yeah, well, it weren't so much a question. It's just when you mentioned about, I sort of didn't hear the first bit about the astronauts, but
Mm-hmm.
I came across a certain high person that does speeches, and
Mm-hmm.
in the transcript they said they were talking to a group of women,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden the
Someone's
word
annoying. Bling bling.
I'm listening.
no,
Margaret.
it's Becky.
It's Becky then.
Becky, I think.
It was bling bling. Blaming bling bling.
See? I thought just her bag rustled for a second and she went and picked up the Chinese food. Ah, like, why are you getting me in trouble? Ha,
Sorry, Becky. We just hear you a lot. Carry on, Patricia.
That she'd mentioned to these group of women that they're busy creating the human family, and I thought that was
There you
quite
go.
strange.
Ha, that's what I'm talking about. Isn't that the strangest thing? Why are we using that? What other families are there? It makes no sense. It's redundant. It's like preaching to the choir. It's like we already know.
Yeah, it's like she was talking to a group of female dogs or something, and she says,
Yeah,
it just seems so weird, out of place.
it does freaks me out, especially the amount that the astronauts are doing it. Makes me think that they do know something. There is something going on here because there's no reason to say that. It just makes no
Yeah,
sense.
exactly.
If I will go around, telling you all that these are dogs that I have in my house, you'd be very insulted at me. You're like, I fucking know it's a dog. Like, really? Like, we know what dogs look like. But I just kept calling them dogs anyways. Like, it would be the most annoying thing. But because I watch so much footage, I'm starting to really notice it all the time now. And it's like, why? Stop saying that. I'm insulted. Like, but then I started to think, maybe
Well,
they're
there
trying to
were
tell us
other
something.
kinds of humans here, though, because
Huh?
Brian Forrester, and obviously there's Maria Wheatley in England. So in England, they found elongated skulls, and Brian Forrester's found elongated skulls, and they had an extra chakra, and they were different, and they were smaller, and they're not here anymore.
I've seen all that. But
So
they're still human, though, right?
They just do not have the same genes as us. They're subhuman.
But
So
they were
maybe
still calling them a
they're a
human.
race of these kind of people. They lived here, but they just weren't like us.
It doesn't make sense to say it. There's something wrong. It's stupid to say it over and over again, especially like in one event. I showed Margaret, and yeah, he said, "You humans down there."
Just asking, Becky.
That is very strange to say. I need to go through some of the videos.
Just a
Just
recent
asking
one.
Becky
You
or
humans.
Trouble. Have you seen anything? Like flying objects. Do you capture these things on your footage as well?
Oh, you're talking to me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you and Trouble.
Oh,
You go first, Becky.
well, we do capture a lot, and a lot of it you can't see with your eyes. Um, it's like it's one frame in your footage, so it takes a lot of time to go through, but you'll see something fly through, and it's in one frame. And a lot of it is really strange, and we posted on our channel because they don't look, some of them look like mechanical birds, you know. Um, when I was out walking Rex one day, I always see these little like balls, like silver balls that appeared really close, like above me. There's like 5 of them, and they would kind of like hover around, and it's really hard to see. So I told Andrew, take a look. And then as he was looking, one at a time, they were disappearing in front of my eyes, and they weren't that high. and I couldn't figure out what they were. But there's a lot of stuff up there that we capture that we can't explain. But you can't see it with your eyes because they're going so fast. It's really
Like, could
strange.
you elaborate on like what it is that you've seen?
Well, a lot of it is in the clouds, and what we always call them are like ships. We're not sure if it's like by humans or aliens or what, but we're beginning to think it's not aliens. We're thinking more it's like the government controlling, you know, like they're usually in the clouds, and you'll be able to see them. They have a certain pattern. It's kind of like a triangle pattern. At the back of it, you'll see like some exhaust come out of it. If you
And
ever
we're
look at the
talking
clouds,
West Palm
yeah,
Beach clouds. I'm
Are you
here,
are
so
you
yeah,
I
are
should
you
see
yep.
this
talking
stuff
about
too.
those things that are on the sun that a lot of people are beginning to capture, like all these little sparkles coming out of the sun?
Right. They just kind of fly in, fly out, or I don't know if they're trying to get energy from it or what, but they bounce off of it like sparks. And I've never seen them before, and you don't always see them. But when you get really close, you could see like pieces of things just flying into them and out another direction, or they go in and they don't come out. I don't know if in Australia, Trouble, if you see. Oh no, I think you said you don't usually film the sun too much, but if you ever do and you get really close to it, you'll see these things flying off of it, and I can't explain it.
Yeah.
Can't really get a good
I
like
caught them
capture of what
myself
it
on
is.
my iPhone, and I've seen other people. Then a Sky Viewer one, he sent me some, obviously, and then I was watching some of our Robert Forge's videos, and then he hadn't he'd noticed them but hadn't said anything because he doesn't know what they are, so he didn't talk about them, and they were on his footage, and then suddenly other people are then coming forward with the same things.
Yeah, a lot of people are seeing more of them.
So we're talking about in the daytime then?
Are they just
Yeah,
bubbles of light, little bubbles of light going in and out? Because I sometimes get
yeah,
that.
yeah. I've
They're
seen them
so
in the
fast,
clouds a lot,
aren't
but I don't know if it's
they?
from chemtrails or something.
They're so
But
fast.
yeah, and they make clouds. Have you ever seen clouds transform out of nowhere? It's like a clear blue sky, and then you'll see a speck of cloud that'll just start forming, and then it'll dissipate in like seconds.
That happens here a lot. I do notice that, definitely,
Yeah,
especially in
I was.
Florida.
Yeah, I
Have you
was like,
noticed
is this
all
a
the
Florida
dark?
thing, or it's weird because it's a different environment for me.
You didn't see that
Uh,
in California?
I did a little bit more.
They don't have as much blue sky.
Yeah, it's a little different here. The clouds are definitely really different and weird. The
Yeah, you have
formations of it.
way more chemtrails in California than we have here. I
Oh, for
barely get
sure.
them in Loxahatchee here. I mean, once in a
Yeah.
while it happens, and then I'm like, oh, look, there's chemtrails. But most of the time, no, just the fluffy normal clouds. What made you move to Florida? I'm just dying to know this question.
It's really interesting. And so we were in LA. We sold our home about a year and a half ago, oh, about a year ago now. And we just kind of took that money and kind of did what we wanted to do and not be a slave to work, because I'm a nurse. I worked for
Oh,
10 years. I own a business. I was working my butt off. And I don't think I was quite as happy as I should have been. And I was so stressed out, had a tragic thing happen in my life, and decided to do
oh
what we want to
no.
do. Yeah. So we sold our home. We said, why don't we do what we always wanted to do and travel? And we packed up our stuff and decided, we don't know where we're going, but I think Florida. So we traveled.
Wow.
He wanted to keep me by the beach. And so he said that would make me happy, because I don't have my family here. I don't have friends here. And so it was really a big change, but I felt like it was needed. And we're not working right now because we felt like we needed to do what makes us happy,
Oh
even though we're
wow.
not making money,
And
right
you're
now.
young. It
Um,
didn't happen with young
yeah,
people.
yeah. So we kind of just both dropped everything and did something that, nobody
Well,
would do. You
and
know
look
what I
at
mean? Like
California, selling your
yeah,
house would have, because it massive housing bubble that even when it was crashed, homes were still massively priced, and they've
Oh my
regained so
gosh.
much. So,
Yeah, we
um,
totally doubled on our house. That's why we were like, you know what?
you know,
Take it, pay everything off, and let's enjoy life for a little bit.
sure.
And so
It's
that's what
funny.
we
Like
do.
Patricia was asking that question, and I think just the internet went down. I don't know if everyone
Yeah.
ever answered it all, but she wanted to know, was there anything that we had learned, or we would have even been so inclined to research? For me, absolutely yes, because I've always been a researcher.
Yeah.
In 2002, I saw the housing going up 30% year over
Hmm.
year from 1999. And it was perplexing to me because my dad was a broker and I learned a
Hmm.
lot about real estate from him. So it's like, what's going on? We should be looking at a 6% year over year and then 3% adjusted for interest. So a true 3% of a value increase of your home year over year, not
Yeah.
30% like we were seeing. So, and I'm
Yeah.
upset because here I am, I'm living in Montreal. My husband
Hmm.
is, we're stationed there, so we're provided everything. Our home was provided, and we had a beautiful, massive home on the lake, all provided by the
Wow.
US government. And they paid for my
Yeah.
son's private school at Ridley
Nice.
College. It was
Hmm.
50,000 a year. It's a good deal when you go overseas. So one day I was like looking at prices of homes again, and I'm upset because here we are saving to buy a home in
Hmm.
Florida, and I'm watching my dream of ownership just sliding away. There's no way I'm going to spend 600,000 on a home when in my life the
I
most
know.
expensive I've only paid was 135, and that was a beautiful show home that I bought. I was used to
Yeah.
seeing a normal price, 4 times your annual income for the price of your home, not 100 times. So I started like really wondering what was happening. And one day on the money message board, I saw this woman that used to write the column. She said, "Could this be a bubble?" And I'm like, what does this mean? Now, this is in 2003. I heard the
Yeah.
word bubble, and I never heard the word before. And I'm like,
Right.
well, the darndest thing. And then I started Googling, and I found Patrick.net was a
Hmm.
website that talked all about the arm resets and what was happening with Robert Schill's chart. And I learned everything about the housing bubble. And then I also found the housingbubbleblog.com. Ben Jones out of Arizona writes it daily, still writes it, educated me to the point where I was teaching it in my training class because I was a trainer for a corporation. I was teaching it in my training classes about what was going on in America because we were utilizing it to get people to HELOC and refinance because I was working for the world's largest debt collection company, NCO Financial Systems, as their
Hmm.
trainer. So I started telling a lot of people, kind of like what I do now with Flat Earth. And often I get the same great responses from people when I talk about Flat Earth. I was talking about the housing bubble and what was going to happen, and that they were going to see the biggest haircut in the history of the world. And so when we moved here in '07, we just hunkered down in rentals. My husband was very angry at me. He was like, "We're never going to buy a house. You're just crazy. There's no way you're going to get like 50% off these prices." And I couldn't believe that he still, after all that research and all that stuff, he wouldn't believe me again. So I was telling people. In fact, I got kicked off of a bus once. We went on a tour. It was a foreclosure bus. This
Oh
real
wow.
estate company had this foreclosure bus. It was this beautiful big bus. It took you around to foreclosures, and they gave you free lunch. You get Panera Bread lunch. It was great. And in the
Wow.
afternoon, she saw me whispering very intently to this young couple, young like yourself, who were on this bus, and they were planning on buying. And the prices weren't near low enough that I knew about for them to jump in. So I was telling them what was going on, and she could hear me even though I was trying. I got a kind of a voice that carries. So after the lunch, she asked me to leave the tour. I was
Wow.
ruining her potential sales. I couldn't
Oh
see
my
this young
God.
couple make the biggest mistake of their lives. I mean, this real
Yep.
estate agent had no clue. I'd already fired 13 agents. They didn't believe with my philosophy of what was about to happen in this country. Then they were fired. I mean, everyone thought I had 3 heads. I seriously, a lot of people thought I was crazy for what I was saying. Do you know that I went toe to toe with a guy that was a PhD in economics. I'm telling him
Wow.
what's going to happen. And I told him that Port St. Lucie was going to be ground zero. And he was very angry because, of course, he was heavily invested in real estate. The home that I
Yeah.
was standing in, they paid way more than they should in '05. And he also had a condo in Fort Pierce. So he wouldn't hear of it. He thought I was crazy, even though we had nothing to come back with. And I'm producing Robert Schiller's graph of all the arm resets that were happening, like a slow moving freight train. But, it was such a high level of education that I had in regards to what exactly happened in this country and why housing did what it did, and how they manipulated the dollar and how they abandoned the strong dollar policy and um, what uh, Alan Greenspan was doing, and then Bernanke took over. I think that I could say that I'm an expert level housing bubble. There's no doubt that I don't think anyone knows more than I do about it. I threw myself into that like I've thrown myself into flat earth, but I certainly would never say that I know that much because there's so much to learn and there's so many brilliant people involved in the community that know so much more than I do that I'm astounded. I know a lot about the space station, and the different modules and stuff like that, but I don't know about the stuff that you guys know about. Like, I feel like, gee, I really there's a lot of things that I need to learn about that I just have no clue on because my interest, like yours, has went to specific areas. But I would love to have more information and learn more. But it's definitely, I think it's our natures. And that was Patricia's question. If she was trying to wonder if it was just in our nature to do that, to research to that level, as just the way we were, or if it changed us to research. Like she said, she could now probably pilot an airplane. I certainly could teach finances in the housing bubble and crash to any classroom in the world. I don't think I'd be ready to teach flat earth. I'd like to be. I think some of you are, like I think Patricia. I don't know what your knowledge base is, but Roxanne certainly has, I think, a stronger knowledge base than I do in regards to this. I'm not comfortable to stand on the street corner and get the hard questions, They always try to do that, right? Even though you provide them with 10 proofs, the 11th thing they'll say is something that we really don't understand yet, or we don't have a map, so it's like they always seem to find those things because they're so in disbelief, they're so deeply indoctrinated, they're not going to say, wow, everything you're saying is like for real. No, they can't, because these closed-minded people, it's their belief system. It's like questioning God to Christians, like saying, well, because there have been some flat earthers or truthers that are now saying that the Bible isn't real and Jesus wasn't real, and it's like, oh boy, like you want to talk those fighting words, like, yeah, let's go on that, because there's no way that I could ever I don't even listen to it. And that's where these people are with their heliocentrism, same way. So it can be very difficult to convince, even if it allowed you to speak that long, telling them some proofs that are very obvious, Like, I give a lot of credit to anyone that will go out talking to closed-minded people that just shut down. I saw it. I was at the surgeon's office the other day, and I was flat smacking the receptionist, and she was so into it. But I was telling her, at first the lady behind her was noticing what I was saying, and then I saw her emotionally shut down. She looked at her computer screen and she never looked my way again. So that was the person with the closed mind that was just not going to have any of it. Yet the receptionist was totally going to go home and look at the 200 proofs and everything else, like all the closed videos and channels that I recommended. She wrote it all down. So it's because some people have an open mind, and people that say they have an open mind, in my opinion, have the biggest closed minds ever, are those
Yeah,
ones. I don't know if do you see that
you,
yourself? Do you see that?
you could tell. You could tell when people are open-minded or not. If you say something and they kind of, you could tell when they shut down. You could kind of see it, and it's just like, okay, you're not gonna even, no matter what you say, it doesn't matter. There's
You
still
should meet my
like that.
husband. You want to kill yourself. You want to kill yourself right now.
Yeah,
great
you just want
guy.
to bite your lip. You're like,
Well,
oh.
the thing, it's sad because and people know me. I'm so honest, like about everything. I'm not pretentious. I've told everyone I'm having a facelift. Like, I'm not lying or hiding it. I'm gonna be 55. I've aged. I don't like it. I'm gonna do something about it. All right. So people know I'm truthful. So for me to be a shill or some whatever, it would be pretty impossible because I've been so transparent. My husband is a mason, and everyone knows that. Can you imagine? My husband's a master mason. He's been the worshipful master 2 times in a row in his lodge. His lodge is in Lake Worth. It's lodge number, can you imagine, number 333? You know? Yeah. You know, I mean, I was the first lady. How many times over? Like, I have to be involved on some level because my husband was the worshipful master. But I have gone to events. I have gone to they have every year, they have an annual convention. I've been to it every year. I know these people, and you know what? They're good people. The Blue Lodge are good people. They're being hoodwinked. They don't know. They're the useful idiots. They have no idea. It's kind of like money laundering, and they're like the laundry. They don't know. They don't know what's happening. These are good people. These are Christian people. I would know in a New York minute if someone was not a sincere person because of my empathicness. No, they're good people. The only weird thing that's ever happened at the lodge was the printed photograph of Buzz Aldrin that was signed was hanging on the wall of the lodge. I used to always notice it every year. I go there, I cook Thanksgiving dinner with my husband. So I spend a lot of time in the lodge, walking back and forth into the dining area from the kitchen. And I'd always look at that. Ever since it became flat, I'd always look at that and I'd mutter to myself, like, lying bastard and everything else, didn't go to the moon, screw you, buddy. And then one day I went to the lodge, did the dinner, and the photo was not there. So I went around asking people, and you know what? No one remembered the photo even being on the wall. That's the only weird thing that's ever happened. Even my own husband, like, where's Buzz Aldrin? He was hanging right here. He's like, no, he
That is
wasn't.
strange.
No, he
That is
wasn't.
strange.
He wasn't hanging there. I'm like, yeah, he
Oh.
was. I remember it so explicitly because I talked to the picture like as if it was him. Like, you're a lying bastard. You didn't go to the moon. You faked it. And you go around making money off of it. You're the scum of the earth. So I know for sure I talked to that picture. But yeah, everyone, and it's not just my husband. I spoke to a lot of people at the lodge. All the same. They was never there. We never had a picture of Buzz, and they'll frustrating the crap out of me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like I
Wow.
hallucinated it, or their minds have been altered. I don't know. That's the only weird thing, though. Like I said, yes, you go in the lodge. Yes, it has the black and white floor. It represents the duality. It has all the symbolism, all kinds of weird pictures and stuff. And yeah, what does that all mean? My husband has no idea, because I asked him one day. I said, he got a new apron, and I'm Russian Vince has promised to analyze it if I could ever freaking get a picture of it, but my husband keeps it locked in his safe, so it's like I don't know the combo. And it's like just because it's precious to him, not to hide it from me, but it's precious to him. He spent a lot of money on its custom apron, but I want to get a photo of it, which I used to have a photo of it when he first got it, but I didn't back up that photo and it's gone. It has a million things on it, like it's like arches and pillars, and it's got honeybees and like little beehives and all kinds of stuff that to him, he has no idea what it means. He just thinks, oh, cute. I'm sure that's what he thinks. Oh, little honeybees. He picked the symbols, has them plastered all over the apron, and now Russian Vince knows exactly what each of those little symbols mean. My husband has no clue. Trust me, if he knew that it meant something nefarious or evil, he wouldn't be a part of it. He wouldn't be wearing it. I asked him one day, if the Masons came to you and said, now is the time for your real education and enlightenment, but you have to renounce Christ, you have to accept Satan as your God, he'd run out of there with his hair on fire. Like, for sure. Like, he may be a hard ass and a really difficult person, but he loves the Lord, and he's got more integrity than anyone and the strongest moral compass of anybody that I know in my life. That's why I
Just a
have
bit
such
heavily
respect for him.
programmed, hey, Bling Bling.
Yeah, terribly. You know, he would never look at anything. Like I said, the government, he signs things. So yeah, okay, part of it is that, but there's got to be some curiosity. But no, loose change. Wouldn't watch that.
Just asking Trouble. Is it the same for you in Australia, Trouble? Is it like, are many Australians flat earthers? She's not there now. Trouble.
Where'd you go?
Is she on mute?
Yeah.
She's muted.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Oh, there.
There she
Oh,
is.
there she is.
What was the question? Is it very many? What?
What's it like in Australia? Are there lots of flat earthers in Australia? Or are they all more like Bling Bling's husband?
Yeah, no, there's no flat earthers here.
Really?
I mention it to people. I've met one or two from the internet, but no, I mention it to people and they think I'm insane.
But
I mention
there
any of this
are
stuff
others then.
to most Australians. They have no idea of anything.
But they're all in the outback, right? Living with kangaroos.
But having said that, it's all over the internet. And I saw my cousin last year and she said, we definitely haven't been to the moon. I was like, wow, where did that come from? And it must be because I'm posting all this stuff. They feel okay to talk to me about it. So, yeah. I now have a friend, and he said, I'm going to watch a video on Flat Earth because of you. And it's Russian vids. He said, it's a 4-hour video. And I thought, yeah, to go straight to Russian vids. I don't jump straight in the deep end there.
There's open-minded people all over the world. It just doesn't, there's not a certain culture or race of people that are more closed-minded than others. We're people, you know. Like when I was involved in the church, and no longer because I don't believe in it anymore, organized religion. I used to marvel that they would leave this box on the desk all day, you know. People would drop in all kinds of money and little cards for information on things. Huge church, but then she would take it away. And I said, "Oh, you're locking that up?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, we have to." I'm like, "Well, have you had a crime?" She goes, "Well, you know, people are people." I'll never forget her saying that to me. People are people. So it's true. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian, and how naive and what was I, superior or ignorant or like, wow, humbling or what? Like, heck yeah, we're people. Christian or no Christian, people are going to steal and lie and be awful. You know, it has nothing to do with anything other than being people. Even God can't control that because the devil is the god of this world. So yeah, there's flat earthers in Australia. You just haven't found them. But yeah, I tease Australians all the time because I was teased my whole life terribly about being Canadian and, oh yeah, you live in igloos up there. I'm like, you know, every time. So it's like Australians to me, it's like, oh yeah, you live with the kangaroos in the outback.
I don't think people are all that bad. Like since I've had strokes, I mean, I've dropped $50 3 times, and people have handed it back to me. And last time I went to walk away from the flexi teller, I didn't take my money out, and it was $400. And the person behind me called me back. I don't think we're as bad as what they make us out to be. Yeah, occasionally we stuff up, and yeah, occasionally people go into crime because it's hard to survive. And there are evil people out there, but on the whole, I think people are good.
I don't know.
I used to think that. Used to believe.
I used to think that, yeah. And when I was younger, I used to think so many nice things. But you know, year after year of these people and these things happen, I don't know if there is so many nice people. I just don't think people care. And I think
see it. You see it. It's not about.
We're not positive like that. It's blame someone else, or it's their fault, the government, whoever it is, it's never our fault. And we never take responsibility, not all people, but I'm just saying generally, we never take responsibility for ourselves. All that goes on. And, you know, there's been a point where I probably would have been more like Roxanne and gone out there. Yeah. Now I just think, I can feel you're not interested. Okay, then. Bye. I'm just not in fight anymore. Yeah. You know, you wake up and you're here, and look how we're talking as we are awake. Look at the things we're talking about. Look at the things that we're looking at. Look at it, Becky. Bling. Look at all the things we're doing.
Yeah.
I think things.
And you know
what?
You shouldn't have to put yourself out there to do it. You know what, Karen? we woke up from watching probably 200 Proofs by Eric Dubay, or maybe The Clues by Sargent, because really back then there wasn't a lot of other things. Now, my goodness, like there's a big selection of things to wake up to. But we woke up on those videos, and we should just be able to very easily send it like we received it. My son texted me Eric Dubay's video. I had just broken my ankle. I had that stupid fixation device screwed into my leg. I was out of commission for 3 months wearing that thing with my leg in the air. And so he is sending me all kinds of stuff. And then one day it said, flat earth. And I remember bursting out laughing and going, well, what is this? Like rubbish? Like, are you kidding? Flat earth? Ha ha ha. I'll tell you, stop laughing halfway through the video, started questioning my own reality, but it took me 8 months to let go of my indoctrination. Now I could never believe we lived on a ball. That's hilarious to me. I can't believe that people believe that. I'm so far the other way now. I just feel sorry for people that believe it.
Same.
But if I can't just text somebody a video, and he didn't say anything, he just sent it to me, and if they don't want to watch it, you know what? I can't help them. If that title didn't grab them enough to watch it and then realize and not sleep for 3 weeks after that, because you're just like, you're just mind blown and you're like, this can't be real, then we can't help them. And we shouldn't have to work any harder than that. If you can't just look at a video and see like, wow, there is something to this, then go off on your own path, do your own research, and it could take you months. Like it took me 8 months. We can't help them. I'm not going to bust myself up trying to convince someone like my husband that the earth is flat. I'd rather drink bleach. I'd rather drink bleach.
Do you go
now I've given up on
into
that.
do you stay quite quiet, Becky? Do you go out like Bling Bling's just saying she's not going to try with her husband anymore? Are you someone that likes to go out there and sort of flat smack, or are you just someone that gets on with it and great, you're a flat earther?
Well, a lot of times, I haven't been out there. Most of it is just through our YouTube right now. And so we haven't really done any meetups or anything, but we do meet a lot of people online that's, opening up to our ideas and everything and our proof that kind of, they question. There's a lot of people who question us. And then they still watch us, even though they don't really believe what we believe in. But then in time, as our videos go on, they're like, I see. Like, we're just showing you proof. And that's when they kind of change their mind and they kind of follow our channel. And then they, people are always open to it, I think, but they're just scared, I think, a lot of times. And so we do a lot of it through online. So I haven't been out there like frontline doing all that, but I definitely commend Flat Earth Guy and Roxanne and, doing all that, because it is really hard. It's hard out there,
Do you, Becky, have you actually, from your channel, woken up people? Have you actually woken? That's pretty amazing. I've had comments like, I've helped, because my channel is not about flat earth. My channel is picking out all of the problems on the space station and proving that it's nonsense, it's contrived, it's not real. That's what I do. And that's what helps to break down people. I'm not at the front lines like, the earth is flat and this is why. Now, I'll do that, like I said, I'll flat smack over the phone or in the grocery store. But my channel, you couldn't go to my channel and know that the earth is flat by constantly visiting and watching my stuff, because it's
right. That's kind of where we're at. Yep.
And a lot of people, and I've noticed this, when I've said flat earth in the videos, I've gotten more hate and I've had messages from people saying, okay, I know that this is contrived. I know that they're faking this, but you're crazy if you think you live on a spinning, or if you think that you live on a flat earth.
It's two different things. A lot of people are just,
I'd rather
they know
help
it's
wake
fake.
up. I'd rather help gently nudge somebody into the flat earth world by proving that we never went to the moon, by proving that the space station is contrived, by proving that Mars, is not a place we've ever been to, with the little thing called Curiosity that's all contrived. That really helps, to push people towards the real truth, the biggie,
That's kind of like what we do too. Like we're not in a certain area. We just kind of wake people up to just all the lights in the sky, you know, like the possibilities of what they're doing. So, you know, we touch on all kinds of areas in that sense, just waking people up to just looking up at least first,
So
and
your
then
neighbors, I
questioning.
noticed you
Hmm.
live in a single family, but you have neighbors. Do they know you're a flat earther?
Well, the thing is, they know that we question a lot of stuff, and we just kind of feed them information on like what we find.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're curious, you know, a lot of them are curious. And I could tell some of them are kind of like, well, that doesn't sound right, or, you know, there's no way that you're getting that. It's like all we're doing is showing evidence, you know what I mean? And
Sure.
then question it. That's like how I usually get into it. Like I don't really tell anybody like, you know, what to think, but just to kind of show them proof, and then they kind of think like, oh my gosh, you know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah, for sure. We
Then they kind
can't
of
tell people
wake
what to
up.
think. I mean, that's them. That's
Right.
their own brain and
Yeah.
thought process. We
But they have
certainly
to see
help
it.
to
Hmm.
open a door that's never been opened before because they didn't know about it. I mean,
Yep.
why would we when we've been
Yep.
born to believe in something that we just accepted with no proof? You know, why would
Yeah.
we
It's really
later
hard.
on in our lives start to question the reality of what they told us? We wouldn't. We'd accept it. You know, why
Yeah.
would we
It's
all of a
hard.
sudden, you know,
Takes a
so
long time.
to go up to someone and to now ask them to do that is a huge thing.
Oh
It's
yeah. They
always
have to
never
question it
ends to
first.
amaze me when someone is very receptive to it. I feel like I want to yell bingo.
Well,
I
it's just like
don't.
you
I
kind of put
want to.
the pieces of the puzzle for them, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, so you're saying this and you're saying that." It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think? It's all the proof
Uh-huh.
is right there, and you could do it yourself. We always show people like what to look at and how we get the footage, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that we do. It's not like we're special. It's just I don't know what made us do the things that we do,
Well, I
and
can't
that's what
believe you're right
happens.
here in West Palm doing it. So, I mean,
It's
that's
weird. I never saw it in my life. Like, if you told me a year ago this is where I'll be in
yeah,
Florida,
right.
like, have a YouTube channel, opening eyes, waking people up, like, I would have never
Yeah, if
thought
you
that.
went
Like,
to
my
a
life was
tarot card
so
reader and they
different.
said all this, you would have just laughed at her and go, "What a
Yeah,
lunatic!
you would
Just
just look
wasted
at it and be like,
$20."
you're like, oh my gosh, this lady's crazy. I don't know what she's talking about. And then you think back, you're like, oh my gosh, they were right, you know? And
Uh-huh.
it, it
I'd love
it's
to hear
weird.
someone say
It's
that. You know, it just
yeah,
show the legitimacy of the cards if they're legitimate. For someone to
yeah,
say that they went to a card reader and she said that she saw this stuff, that was
yeah.
incredible. But I haven't heard that yet, and I used to go to flat. I used to go to card readers, and not flat Earth card readers, just card readers,
I
and
did too. I know what
and
you mean.
I had some, without her knowing any backstories, I had some pretty amazing things said. And then there was a church, believe it or not, I couldn't believe it was a church. I'm from Winnipeg and
Uh-huh.
in Canada. And there was a church I went to a couple of times, and on a certain, I don't know if it's every Sunday, but you can go all through the church in different rooms, and you've got people palm reading, you've got tea leaves, you've got tarot cards, and this is a church. This is just kind of creepy and weird to me, but I went there and I was told by tea leaves one story, and then I saw Katrina. She was a very famous card reader in Winnipeg. I think she's died now, but she told me the same thing. She says the dark-haired job-related man in May, that I was going to meet him, and of course it happened. And it was like, she one of them saw that I was dating this doctor, and he was so ambivalent, and he was bipolar, and it was an awful experience. He'd call me in the morning, "Hey Christine, let's go out tonight. We'll go for dinner." And then 5 o'clock comes, 6 o'clock comes, no phone call. I'd be calling him, it'd be ringing and ringing. Finally, he'd be like, "Hello." I'm like, "Oh shit, oh my god." He's like, he's not going anywhere tonight, but he didn't bother to call me. So so I had gotten ready and dressed up and makeup, hair, and then for him to be like totally blow me off because of severe bipolarism, was
Hmm.
terrible disease for a doctor to have. Lots
I
of malpractice
know.
practice medicine at some point,
That's
you know.
crazy.
Yeah, I've never talked about Flat Earth because he's been so unwell this last number of years. We stayed friends. In fact, my husband didn't mind, and I went to see him. I don't know if it was 4 or 5 years ago, because he was very, very sick, and I went to try to help. My husband is very, very good that way, and funnily open-minded with things like that. But never, don't look at Flat Earth stuff. You'll crucify you. But it's the I don't even know where I was going. Where was I going with that? Why did I even mention this dude that I dated that was not a flat earther? Oh, Katrina. Oh, right. She saw in the cards. This was the weirdest. She said, and I didn't say nothing to her. She goes, "Oh, there's a man I see. Oh, you're dating. Oh, but," she says, "Oh, but somehow his wife is still living in the house." She was. They were split up. She had a room in the house, and he had a room in the house. And it was just a matter of convenience because they had a lot of debt and his medical debt still and all that. Doctors in Canada don't make a lot of money. So she told me that. And then she says, "Oh, yeah, it's not going anywhere. He's sort of still in love with his wife." And then she says, "He's moving." She says, "Yeah, he's moving away." I'm like, "No, he's not." Guess what happened? Yeah, he moved away. We went to a Halloween party. And then just a few days after that, he told me that he was moving to British Columbia and starting a practice there, and selling his house and going. And it was all true. It was just like, oh my God, she said all of that and it all happened. So yeah, there is some truth to it. I don't know what happens, how this works. But then it's like, how come they're not predicting the lottery numbers then?
No, I know. That's one thing, because I've
Can't do that,
actually,
but
through
they
this last
can tell you.
year,
No, I don't
I've
like that.
questioned a lot, and I've actually spoke with a few sidekicks because I'm just like, I don't know where my life is going, and I'm a little bit concerned. I've never had no direction in my life where I start a new
Oh.
chapter like this in 10 years. I was a
Yeah,
nurse
I
for 10
thought you were
years.
going to say that you
Hello.
moved here for jobs, for a job
No,
transfer,
no.
or
It's just
nobody
a
usually just
whole,
moves. Well, 1,000 people used to move here every
yeah,
day back in the
yeah,
day
it's
when it
crazy.
was like really heyday. During the housing bubble, 1,000 people moving to Florida every single day. I'm sure that
Wow.
number had dropped considerably during the bubble crash, but then has picked up again because we're having a little
It's
mini
same
bubble
for
happening.
everyone, though, isn't it, Bling Bling? Because this is all part of the game that we're put in. It doesn't matter
Sure.
what even you read in the papers, or this crash, that crash, this has happened. Whether it's a hurricane causing, all this disaster, money
Yeah,
loss,
true.
and stuff like. Most of it is in a game that we're in.
Absolutely. They do all these, well, the bubbles for sure on purpose to manipulate currencies, the markets, the stock market. They do all that on purpose. And we're all little stupid little sheep just seeing what they're doing and all reacting to it, buying, selling, doing whatever they're doing to create bubbles. We're always stupid idiots that go along with that.
Yeah, it's so
Very few of us.
expensive now. It's crazy. I
Oh,
feel like
yeah,
there's gonna be
very.
another bubble
Well, I'll
now.
tell
It's
you,
about to
There's
crash.
going to be a crash because young
it's
people just can't
definitely a
afford
bubble now in
things.
Florida
They
again.
can't
Not
afford things.
to where we were though. My
It makes
house was worth $700,000 during the peak of the bubble because the prior owner he
they're just
locked.
devaluing everything, aren't they, Bling Bling? If every house
Yeah,
has got to be worth that much
my
money, then
my
everything's been
house
cut
was.
off. You've got to
I
spend that
wasn't
much
going to
money
spend
to
$700,000 to buy this
buy
house,
somewhere.
but I waited. This is my dream home, so I hunkered down and I was able to buy this house for $215,000, which to
Wow.
me was the price that it was worth, not
Yeah.
700. I'm like I said,
Oh
the
yeah.
most I'd ever spent was 134, and that was a 1,500 square
So
foot
in the
beautiful
UK, then,
show
Bling
home in
Bling,
Winnipeg.
houses are really expensive here.
Sure,
They're
they
really
are.
fucking expensive considering what we get in America. Although everything's going up. I've told you the price of our diesel. It's twice as much as yours. We're really
And
heavily
you're,
taxed here in the UK. Or part of this
huh?
game.
UK didn't have a massive real estate crash.
Yeah, we
Other
did.
parts of the country,
2008 we did. And then we had
not
2008 we
not
had another
enough,
then.
not to the level that
Oh yeah, when we opted to
America did.
when we
Canada
opted
hasn't
to
had
come
theirs
out of
yet. We're still waiting for Canada to have their housing crash. They're thinking the party's going on forever, those idiots. I've talked
when
to
we
so many,
opted
I've
to
given
come
up.
out of Europe in the Brexit thing, it basically devalued that everything. We were the sort of rich men of Europe, so everything was better. You know, when you did someone's making a lot of noise. I'm sorry. When we were doing exchange thing, the UK was the better end of the deal, but now. You know, it's gone the other way. Whereas actually, it's really expensive to go to Europe. So we've gone the other way. So we've had 2 crashes in a matter of years, and I think there's another one looming because I just can't see, you know, how people can afford this. You can't. Our wages aren't going up like
Exactly. This was key to my arguments is that wages never kept pace with inflation, not even close. You can't have such a massive disconnect between the two without it being artificial. And that was my argument. And like I said, I argued with the guy that was a PhD in economics. And boohoo for me, right? Like, I was so proud of that. Sadly, he's died. He had cancer and he's died a couple years ago. He's my girlfriend's husband. He never took my advice. He never listened to me. They ended up losing so much value, like, because it wasn't real in the first place. And he was still working in his 70s. He worked out of his house though, so he did amazing like work for lawyers and stuff he was doing, all with about economics and stuff, but never anything to do with this. He didn't have a clue. Too bad. He was studying the wrong stuff. But yeah, my girlfriend ended up, not being able to sell the house for anything near what they paid, and there was a tremendous loss. So luckily there was a lot of money put down on the house, but she didn't walk away with very much. At least she was able to walk away with something.
But then,
Most people didn't.
That's the problem with things today, isn't it? Everything's too money orientated. It's also money orientated that the actual emphasis of the human has been left out of it.
Humans.
Money.
Well, it'd be nice if we didn't have that, right? You just
Can
do
I ask
stuff for everyone. We'll chip in for free. You need something, you go get it. But people would spoil that. They would ruin that. They would be lazy. They wouldn't pull their part. They would be breaking promises. They were supposed to do a certain job to help out, to contribute, and they didn't. And then it got spoiled for everyone. If we lived in a world like that, where there was no currency, that we were just doing favors for each other, it would never work. As much as we'd like to think it could be this utopia, no way. People are too darn lazy, and they're too jealous. They would like see that you maybe had a nicer house than they did, yet you felt that you were putting in more by what your contribution was. It would be a problem. I can see that so easily because
one of those
petty.
communities. Yeah. Those communities where people want to. We talked about those kind of communities of starting something where everybody, like there's a nurse, there's a doctor, there's a gardener, like everybody contributing. But in the end, it's hard. Like somebody's not going to do their job, and there's going to be like, why is this person getting this and that? It's like, it would be a difficult one to start, I think.
Yeah, you would be disappointed.
Something on the hangout, I can hear it. You're fiddling with something.
Sorry, I had to close the coffee bag. I had to make coffee. Yeah, I didn't have to use the water.
Sometimes it sounds like Bling
Bling Bling's going. I had a jug right here.
Yeah, sometimes it sounds like Bling Bling's going for a wee wee.
I get to the water. I showed her because I thought she don't believe me, so I turned on the camera to show her that I'm at the getting water out of the machine. Right?
Like or something.
Sounds just like it, except very long one filling the coffee pot. But this time I had my distilled water sitting right here on the counter, so I was able to just pour it into the coffee maker without having to make a ruckus. You have to prepare for this show. I'm always the one getting called out making noise. You see, I always multitask. I can't sit and just talk. I have to do stuff in the house, whether it's cleaning or practicing doing nails or do my own nails, or I'm cleaning up, I'm doing something, feeding the parrots, like just doing stuff. And sometimes they make noise. Karen's always, Christine, it's like, but then sometimes it's not me.
She always points at you first.
She does, but we're very good friends. I laugh it off. We're such close friends. Like we're very good friends. This it's funny, the friendships that you'd never believe that you would ever make Like, why would I think for a million years that I would have such a great friend living in the UK, you know? But now I do because of flat Earth, you know, like, oh, Becky, well, you know, that's true. I tell you, I mean, I really love her. Like, she's a great person. She's an amazing spirit. What she does for the community, this sacrifice every single day. I mean, this woman barely sleeps. Plus, she works a real job. It's not like she's just at home.
Wow.
Like, I don't know if
That
people
is a
know
lot of
that.
work.
They think Karen just sits at home all day talking on the phone. No, people. She actually has a real job. So this is something she does on her free time. And then
Wow,
she's
that is
up
a lot of work.
super late at night because of the time zone differences. And then she has to get up in the morning, and sometimes it's 2 in the morning and we're still at it. Like, this woman is pretty much an amazing person and such a value to the flat earth community. That's why it bugs me when I don't see the channel numbers where they should be for Karen's channel. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Everyone knows about her channel. I'm going to talk to death about the channel at the Flat Earth conference.
Yeah,
and
I'm
make
a
sure
bit
that
shocked sometimes when we've been out places in Flat Earth Duties in the chat room. Hi, Flat Earth Dude. You know, like everybody knows who we are, and yet, yeah. Anyway,
yes,
thank you, Bling.
it's
That's
just,
very sweet of you.
but it's really true. And at the conference, I'm going to mention your channel a lot and make sure that people are subbed to it. Because obviously they're not. I didn't know there was these factions. Like, I'm shocked to find out Becky and Andrew are a Flat Earth faction right here in West Palm Beach. My mind is completely blown away. I honestly thought I was the only one. Thirdly, the only one with the channel. You know, and here their channel is even bigger than mine. Like, it's like, what? Who are these people? I can't believe. How could we not have crossed paths? How
Well,
have I never seen?
we started I think in February, but we went back to LA. We did videos every day. We almost have like 500 videos. And since we're not
I only have
working,
like, I don't know, maybe 30 videos.
yeah, he's a pusher.
Intense
Like,
truth videos of hours of research. I couldn't.
yeah.
I don't have that kind of. I need to do the research to find this stuff to be able to make the videos. I'm not just gonna softly watch a video and make some stupid video. I have to find the real stuff. And if I'm doing a video and if I don't think it's real, I'll stop. Like, I really thought that there were scuba divers in the video that Jeranism did. And that until I got the footage and I started analyzing it, I'm like, you know what? Those aren't scuba divers. They're not. Like, that's not that stuff they're dragging behind them. And I was crushed because I was already, yes.
Because I say, Patricia says that she needs to go now. Patricia?
Okay, honey. Patricia?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
You always say her name. I love the way you say her name.
I didn't want to interrupt anyone.
Right.
So,
no, that's okay.
It's been fantastic tonight. Thank you, Becky.
It was so nice to actually interact with you and you had questions. Like, I think that was really lovely. And you should do that more often.
Yes, Patricia.
People don't realize that she does work hard in the background. She doesn't like to really talk on the channel, but she's always setting up the stuff, helping Karen set up stuff, finding channels. Like, she helps a lot. She sets up the Hangouts. Like, she does a lot. And I know that because she tells me, Patricia, in case you don't think that she even tells people, she tells a lot of people. We appreciate what you do, even though you're a very quiet person. So it was nice that you actually interacted with us. You know, I like that.
She ends up being my researcher. I'll go, can you go look that up? Can you look that up?
That's how she doesn't have the time for it.
That's how she knows so much about planes. And in fact, Patricia's the one that made me realise that they're lying about the planes, because the Wright brothers, they actually took off with petrol, what do you want to call it, fuel, and then they switched to electric. So it was happening from the beginning, whatever they were doing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that was an amazing. That's an amazing video. We were watching that, and we're just like, wow. Never knew.
Karen doesn't have the time to watch all this stuff when she's running this show
every day. Every day. That is a lot of work.
We usually do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, but sometimes we're on at the weekends as well. So it ends up being sort of maybe 5-6 days a week sometimes.
Wow. I can't imagine.
Everybody else, don't we? But Patricia wants to go, don't you, Patricia? You want to leave us?
I thought she
Well,
usually goes to sleep and she just mutes her her mic and goes to bed.
yeah, and then I wake up and like there's nobody there. I'm like, oops.
That's all
Yeah.
right. We don't mind that you do that.
Yeah, but just to explain, I hope Patricia doesn't mind me saying this. Patricia's quite like disabled, so she sometimes has to go to sleep.
That's all right. I get that too. Totally. Sometimes that
But
fatigue is too much.
End of a hangout, and I think Patricia, like I've been saying, Patricia, let's have a go time here. And so she's listened to hours and hours of people talking, haven't you, Patricia?
Yeah. Yeah. So
she's a listener. See, I'm a talker. I couldn't just listen. I didn't implode. I can't sit and be quiet very long. I like to give other people a chance to talk. Don't get me wrong, but I like to give my thoughts. There's no question. Like that's important to me to be able to communicate what I'm thinking and feeling. And I'm your typical woman. I need to tell you my feelings.
I like to talk too. It's just I don't always have something to say, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
So anyway,
you should talk about those planes. You got lots to say if you watch all those videos. See, I did research a little bit about the planes. I'm still not really convinced. You could try to convince me sometime, because I know my husband, he recently retired from the military. He put in over 30 years as active duty and a reservist, and he was security police, so he was all over those bases, and he told me that there's petrol pumps there, diesel fuel, jet fuel, whatever. Like it's actually there. He's seen them putting it in the plane. I asked him. At least he could tell me that much.
Someone, by the way, and I made a little video about it, and they said I didn't want to put their name on it because they said that they'd lose their job, but they're saying that everybody's seeing the petrol come into the planes, but no one's actually really checking, like the captains, or they don't see actually how much fuel goes in there.
That was my point to him then. I'm like,
anyway, listen,
maybe it's just a teaspoon going in there, like certainly not.
Patricia's got to go.
Okay, honey, go. You go and do your thing. And it was, like I said, nice to talk to you, and I look forward to doing that again real soon with you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, Karen, for all your hard work, and I can't take any credit for the hangouts and stuff. I just do a bit of research and post some links,
and she's modest,
and I like to help you in any way I can, and I know you probably, if I did something, you probably micromanage it anyway. So, but I don't mean that in a bad way, because we all like to make sure it's perfect, don't we? I'm just
absolutely.
I'm not really very good on certain things, but anyway, Trouble, I really wanted to say it's nice to see you on the panel. I love you, Trouble, and Karen, I love you big, 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 big time.
We love you too.
Aww.
Becky, it's nice to meet you. And
it's nice to meet you. Love you.
And Bling Bling, it's always nice to have you on here, and I love you too. So, and everybody in the chat room, I love you.
Let's all sing Kumbaya together now.
Kumbaya.
On 3.
No, I'll probably crack my screen if I start singing.
I sing flat because I'm flat. I sing flat.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.
You take care.
All right, Patricia.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was lovely, wasn't it? It was nice for her to interact with us.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can I
ask questions? It was a great idea.
Can I ask Becky, where does the Boogie Man channel go with all that stuff that you're doing?
With which one?
Where do you go with all this information you're finding out and everything, all the things that you're filming and?
Well, it's weird because a lot of stuff is like generated from just what we see, and that's how we find out a lot of stuff. And then here and there, we'll get somebody that shows us something that opens our mind to trying a new experiment. So what we've been catching was just a couple of days ago, one of our new subscribers, she had actually used a dome magnifying glass, and she put it onto like a 5x mirror, and then she was using her P900 to film, and in it you can actually see parts of the firmament. And so we are actually going to be doing that experiment as well. Because, you know, it's something that nobody's ever tried was that we kind of did on accident was the microscope. And that's how we knew everything was holographic. Because I think that's what we were talking about on the last time we were on about, you know, why we think everything is holographic up there is because if we can actually see what's out there with a microscope, that means it's not as far as they say it is. Just like proving them wrong.
Oh, we lost Bling. Have you seen Enslaved by No Media?
Yeah, I did watch a few of the videos, and sometimes it comes on. It's so hard, like for us, because you know we do videos all the time and live, so it's like sometimes I don't get to see everybody's channel and all the great stuff that's on there. But I think you met up with Enslaved with No Media, right?
No, we haven't. But I, you know, like it's a bit strange because you know, obviously, I haven't got a P900, but I was out Silbury Hill, which is this pyramid up the road, and a lot of people here don't know it's a pyramid. Anyway, we were standing in. We'd been walking around it, and then we came back to the car park, and suddenly we were looking, and we were saying, "Look at the size of the thing!" And yet, these people are nearly like about a quarter of a mile away, standing at this fence. But when you actually walked up to the fence, there was a field between you and the pyramid didn't look quite as tall from the fence, quarter of a mile closer. And this
that's
is the
where
kind
I've seen it. That's why I thought you met up with them for some reason. But yeah, that was the video I watched, and that's the one that's why I thought you. For some reason, I thought he was there. But yeah, that's the one I seen with them.
I just was putting back to him that yes, we've seen it. You know, like unless you like, we can talk about things, we can see things, and we saw that for ourselves. The very same thing he was talking about.
Becky, I posted the link to one of your videos, newest video
perfect.
in the chat for people.
Oh, thank you.
So they can sub your channel.
Oh, thank you.
Bling.
Yeah, there's some mind-blowing stuff going on our channel lately. It's just we're discovering so many new things, connecting everybody together.
I can't wait. So, I've got work for me there. I see you got a lot of videos.
I didn't mean it rudely about where. I meant where do you go? What is your next thing? What else are you going to find out? And then where do you take all this information to?
You know, it's weird because you know, on our channel, it just keeps doing different ways, you know, and so our new thing is just like trying to capture like the firmament, and you know, we're finding out like the tethering system. It gets so complicated, you know, like what NASA's doing up there, because our new thing was we had some leaked documents from NASA about them putting up a tethering system up there. So that's what we're diving into now. So I don't know which direction we're going. It seems like things are just popping up to us, like, I don't know, out of nowhere. And then we'll find different evidence. It's like, once we think we're like, okay, well, what's next? Something else pops up. So it's hard to say. Like, we don't really have a direction, but it's just, as things are coming, it just opens our eyes to even more things. When we think we're like, okay, well, what else can we dive into? It just pops up on our table.
I love that.
Is that the bit with the blue lines, like the moon's on a track, which you capture? Is that what you mean with the tethering?
Yeah. So, yeah, just like everything's on a track up there, and they hide it, you know, sometimes with the chemtrails, and a lot of it is you can't see it with your bare eyes, but with photos, we're able to kind of prove it.
Which videos do you recommend, Becky, on your channel to get a good grasp of everything that you're doing? Do you have like one encompassing video to recommend?
You know what? There is one recently. I'm gonna post it in the link here. We have so many like mind-blowing ones. It's crazy. And the glitch in the Matrix is the one where we kind of saw like a grid in the sky. That's how we kind of saw, like, you know, you can't see it with your own eyes, but we were able to capture it. And like these are the things that kind of pop up to us, and it's like I feel like we're guided. You know, on our channel, it's just been kind of like we've been fed information. We don't know how, like by destiny or something, to show everybody out there. You know what I mean? Like what's out there, and we don't know why these things happen, but they do. And we felt like, you know, by us going to Florida and all that's happened, it's like meant to be for us to be like here and now.
again, is it, when you start? I mean, like Bling Bling is the ISS and what she's done over all that, and you're in the sky. Trouble also does a lot. She's like into stars at the moment. She does a lot of photography on stars. It's just like life's never the same again when you start doing these things.
No, they're not.
No,
Life
that's what
was
I always
much
say.
simpler.
Like, and I think it was Lucy, right? She's just like she had to turn her mind off of these things because I sometimes I sit there and I'm, every day, because we do YouTube and the things that we uncover is so hard because I tell Andrew, like, I don't know what to think anymore sometimes. There's just so many lies, like your brain just like goes in circles and circles and you can't sleep and you're just like, I need to like get my mind off of something because it's mind boggling and
I just
I
think
don't
it's
know. It's
amazing that
hard.
you and your husband are doing this together. That
Yeah.
is quite a beautiful thing, and it's pretty rare for our community because we're pretty young still. So for you to
Mhm.
be doing something together, I know Jeranism, he had his wife involved, but they had broken up. So I don't know of any
Oh.
other than Cami and Bob, of course. But like she said, she prefers to kind of work in the background and she's in chat, but she doesn't go live on the show with him. So it's quite nice that we actually have you as a husband and wife team doing it together. That's very, very, very unusual. And
Yeah, a
I
lot
think
of
that's
people
just
say
great.
that, and I
Well, it's
question that with
true.
everybody. Like, how do people have relationships when they have different beliefs?
Well,
You know
it's
what I
not even
mean?
that so much. I don't mean that. I mean, there are a lot of people that are husband and wife that are flat earth, but I mean
Yeah.
husband and wife that do a channel together on flat earth.
Oh,
Not
right.
everyone is into, making content. It's a lot of work and effort, and some people
Oh my
just aren't
gosh.
into it or interested, even though they like watching others. Like, just all of those things combined makes you unusual and unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, also is pretty not unusual, but very unique when you do have a husband and wife that are both flat earth. I think it's more common to have the spouse that isn't really flat earth, or if they are, they maybe say, how does it matter to my life, which is a terrible thing to say. Or you
Mhm.
get the drastic, you're crazy, I'm not interested, don't ever talk to me about this again, like my life. So,
Yeah. I've
you
seen
know,
so many like fights between couples, like, people that we meet and they're like, my husband or my wife isn't woke and it's like they can't even really talk to them. And
yeah.
so sometimes when they're on our channel, they chat and they felt more comfortable because they don't feel or their families like kind of dogging them and they feel so lost, like they feel crazy, like they don't feel they're not happy. You know what I mean? And so
Well,
I don't know.
you've kind of have to make life how you want it. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to let my husband's attitude change my happy nature. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
I get down sometimes if we argue, or I should say, if he argues, because I really don't like to fight. I don't like
Oh
conflict.
yeah.
So
Right.
he had say his say, and he'll call it that we had a fight, even though I probably didn't even say anything, like, because I
Right.
really can't get a
It's
word in
just
anyways. And
just him getting
um,
angry.
he could be almost a man baby. I hate to say, oh, he
A
didn't say
man
man baby,
baby.
but I've seen him do stuff that you
Yeah.
wouldn't believe a grown man would actually do. Stand on the sofa, jump up and down, plug his ears,
Yeah.
like crazy stuff. So
Right.
it's like, I don't bother. I'm not interested. I've changed since menopause. I don't have that oomph in me to want to have an argument. It doesn't exist. It's totally
Yeah.
gone, which is a good thing.
Right.
But it works for me in my marriage. He's a good man, and everything, like I
Mhm.
said, he's a terrific moral compass. He's as honest as the day is long. He's never taken a bribe, nor would he. He's
Mhm.
rejected so much money over the years with his job that he could
Wow.
have substantial little honeypot for himself if he had,
Mhm.
but he would never. I mean, he was offered like crazy kind of money for doing nothing. Like who's that singer? He's blind and he has the long hair and he braids it and he moves his head back and forth.
What, you mean
Mm.
someone that's been around for years?
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder?
Yes. Stevie
I was
Wonder.
thinking him too. Yeah.
I don't like to say someone's skin color anymore. I don't do that. Um, it frustrates people I know because it's easy to say that, but I lived in the Bahamas. I was a minority. It changed me, and I really don't see skin color anymore. They were so accepting of us
Yeah, it's what
living
is
with them.
correct, isn't it? Like in things.
It's
You
like
know,
kind of saying human to me. Like I don't call out what
do you
someone's
know, I might
skin
have to
color
go
is,
through some of the
but
videos and just write down human, human, human.
yeah.
Human.
No, but I was gonna say that Stevie Wonder's handler offered my husband $500 just because my husband walked Stevie to the plane at
Wow.
the airport, and my husband was like, "No, not taking that. That would be a bribe." I was very happy to do it. Yeah, it would have been an easy $500 for doing nothing but walking somebody to a plane, So,
Wow.
not happening. Integrity, which I love because not everybody has that. My husband has worked with some pretty really horrible people with no moral compass. Like this one couple, they also moved to Montreal at the same time that we did because we were also in the Bahamas at the same time as them. And she was a Canadian like me, married to her an American husband who works for the federal government. And she owned a house in Calgary. And so they were actually going to Calgary and they were happy because she got to go back to her home city while I was going to Montreal and my home city is Winnipeg. So, anyways, they lied to the government and said that they were renting her house. Meanwhile, she owned the house. So they made up all these fake documents of a fake landlord and they named their price. And plus, they rented the furniture to go in the house, which they had a deal at the end with the furniture company and they paid them $1 and they kept it all. And they left Montreal with probably over $1 million in their savings account, which they probably
Wow.
numbered and hid because every 5 years we get our lives completely ripped open. They go and talk to our neighbors, they check our debts and all the money we have in our accounts. They want to know everything all about my family members, ones that I haven't even seen myself in years, like my brother. They want to know his address, like it's never changed in all these years, and his phone number, everything for his top secret security clearance.
Whoa.
So if he had $1 million in the bank, they'd be wondering where it came from, you see. So obviously they didn't put their money where it could be seen. But I knew a lot of people knew. Nobody reported them. I'm the person that says if I point the finger at these people, knowing what they did, you see, I got 3 fingers pointing back at me when I point at somebody. So that means that my car is going to break down. Something's going to happen. Like to me, one of my animals will die. Like I feel that when you push something negative towards someone, even if they deserve it, something negative comes right back at you right away. That's the balance of nature. So I don't do it. I can't do it. I think right away that something bad will happen to us and I don't want anything bad to happen. So I won't say anything, even if I know the worst stuff like this, and they're not the only ones I know. If the federal government were to round up.
I gotta go.
Okay,
Sorry,
Trouble.
guys.
Oh,
Got a
sorry.
dentist.
I was gonna wait till Bling Bling had finished and ask you a question, but you got to go now. Okay.
Yeah, I got
Sorry
a
about that.
dentist appointment. That's okay. Nice talking to you all.
Big hugs, Trouble.
Nice meeting you.
Take
I'll catch
care.
you later.
Bye, darling. Hey,
She
down
left
to 3.
rather abruptly. But I was going to say, if the federal government knew
Yeah, she had to go
all
to an
this,
appointment.
all this money that's being embezzled, basically, for all these people that are lying about overseas deployments, that would be a substantial amount of money that the government would recoup from people, because they do give you a lot of
I know, but then
leeway.
when you talk like that, Bling Bling, you're talking about it in the lie, aren't you? That's all in the lie. All these things are happening inside this game we've been putting. So annoying.
Sure, it is. They're playing the system, but they're winning. But it's wrong. I mean, it's our tax dollars again. The money that we got when we would live overseas, and they would pay for everything, which is our rental of the house, all of our utilities, and if we needed a private school, because in Montreal, Andrew could not speak French, so he was already. What grade was he going into? Was it grade 9 or grade 10? He couldn't speak the language. So he had to go to an English school. So we had to put him in boarding school in Ontario. And they paid $50,000 a year for Andrew to go to that boarding school. Like, the advantages that you get in this position are unbelievable. To get taken advantage of like that, you're already getting such a gift, to me is sickening. But they, took such advantage because they owned this home in Calgary, so they just moved into it and then said they had a landlord and they were landlord. Our rent was $3,800 on the house in Montreal. The government happily paid. I bought the guy's house from him basically over the 6 years that we lived there. $3,800 a month for 6 years. I basically bought it.
Wow.
It's
That's amazing.
crazy. It is
Yes.
amazing. And the government's very generous. My husband is like a GS-14, so he's got a good rate of pay, and it's wrong, but he would never do these things. You see, we measured the house to make sure that we qualified for that house, like every square inch. We measured it. We had a big family. We were able to claim both my sons and his 2 daughters because they were all living with us. So we got to have like this big, ginormous 5-bedroom house. But it goes off a lot of things. But those people and others that I know of lie their faces off, and they get deployed overseas. They get selected a lot. So I know that they're doing this. They're figuring out some way to scam the government on every step of the way because the government's not very smart.
It's a bigger thing than that, though, isn't it? Because that's when people say things on like, oh, well, excuse me mentioning things, but the Jews did this or they did that or Muslim. I turn around and say, yeah, but this is part of the game. We've all been used. We've all been played. We've all been turned against each other. The whole thing is just much bigger. But fortunately,
it's awful when they pick on a certain race of people.
We're living in a system, aren't we?
I just know regular, normal people that have scammed more than I've ever known any person. My mother worked for a Jewish family, and they never scammed my mom. But I'll tell you, I've seen these people that are just regular old Americans here scamming the government to the 10th degree and getting away with it, where they should be in jail and you should not have that job. It's just disgusting to me. But like I said, I can't do nothing about it. I refuse. Too scared that, not that I'm breaking any laws, but what are going to come and measure my yard? And your chicken coop is too close to the fence, and you're going to have to move it. And how inconvenient would that be? Like, I think it's okay because it's not cemented in the ground. So I don't have to follow the 25-foot rule, but still, something they would come in my yard on something, I'm sure. I have my car that I was in my accident sitting in my driveway. It's been there since my accident. Well, since I got it back from the attorney. It's a total wreck. I almost died in a car accident, but I bought the same car and I've been harvesting the parts off of it, So I'm sure they would come and tell us that we had to move that junk of a car sitting in my driveway, which not that big of a deal, but I guess.
Anyway, that is a strange play, Bling Bling. That car accident got you into flat Earth, but
it did, totally. I would not have had the opportunity to sit for 3 months. No, because I always worked and I was busy riding tango. I was a busy person. There was no way I would have ever sat on YouTube. I never sat on YouTube until my son was sending me some videos because he is a YouTube. Most men are YouTubers and women are Facebookers. That's just the way it works. So when he sent me that video, I really wasn't watching many YouTube videos. And then that opened up a door that remained wide open. I gave up Facebook. You're on my Facebook. I mean, I'll post cute dog videos from Dodo.
Yeah, I saw some of those.
Oh, yeah.
I love those videos. I'm addicted to them. So I'll see one. I'm like, oh, I got to share this because it's just so great. Or I'll post some things that I did with nails or some pictures of my own dogs or my horse.
Things that the other people can accept. Not allowed to talk about. Are you on your own?
I try. I don't get any response.
Can I ask?
It's too frustrating.
Becky, it just came back into my mind. Becky, this bit about the distance thing. Don't you find that? Because that's very interesting, isn't it? That we're obviously Bling Bling. I don't know if, a lot of people are now saying, including Enslaved by No Media, and Becky's noticing us that we're not even the size that they say we are. We're much smaller.
Really?
Yeah. We're smaller. We could be. Maybe, I don't know, getting up for half the size they say we are.
Well, because
I don't know if it's like changed or, because it's weird, the phenomenons that we're having, like the sinkholes in Florida or just sinkholes around the world. It's just strange. I don't know. We're wondering if it was like sort of expanding or if it's not as big. And, or if there's like a side that, there's
Well, it's a
definitely
good thing that
parts that we
West
have
Palm
What
to
Beach
see.
doesn't
Say
really
by
have
no media is
sinkholes.
reckoning.
Luckily, right?
Bling bling. I
The
don't know if
houses
Yeah.
aren't going to
you say
sink
by
into
no
the
media.
ground.
Bling bling. I don't know if you watch
Yeah.
and say by no media. What it is he's noticed that his camera, to get to what we see with our eyes, he actually has to zoom in quite a bit. But
Mm-hmm.
the camera is doing a lot more than that. But it's just like when he's watching smaller planes, they go much faster, and they're sort of going bat out of hell across the sky. Obviously, they're a bit lower in the sky, but you get an airplane and it's quite quiet, and it's not going at the speed like this other plane. Anyway, he's noticing that these things are not as high as they say they are. They're
Oh
not
yeah, they're
they're
definitely
not
not.
1,000 feet. It's
Well,
probably half that, because
if they could
the camera,
triangulate the
your eye
actual
wouldn't be able to
plane
pick
to
it up, and
cruise,
the camera wouldn't be able to pick it up. So he's noticing all these things, and then it's a bit like he notices, look at that building over there. Well, on my camera, I have to zoom in this much to get the same kind. So he's noticing that the cameras aren't telling the truth either. Nothing is. I'm not sure whether this sort of fits in a bit to this Mandela thing. It's like if you're asleep, you don't
Oh
see these
no.
things, you don't see all these things. Once you start waking up and then you see things, learn things, everything's changed. Everything's
It's
changed,
true.
but not for
You know
some,
how
but for
Russian
others.
videos when he thinks about the mandala. But there's just that one I'm so stuck on. Well, there's a couple. There's a Bible verse that really bugs me when it talks about the two men in bed together, and the women are grinding, and it's like what that was not there. I'm sorry, that was not there. It was not like that. But and then that whole thing with oh my god, with
Maybe
Jaws,
what it is
with
we're
the woman
causing a
with the
paradox and
Dolly's
everything's
braces.
changing.
That's it.
Maybe we
Dolly's
are. Maybe
braces.
it's changing. It's all changing because we're changing. And the more we wake up, the more of it will change.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah, there's
Dolly
a lot of
definitely had
history.
braces. Dolly had braces. I will go to my death
Mm.
remembering the whole
But
reason
we
that
don't
it
even know how
connected.
much of that is correct anymore. We don't know how old it
I
really
know.
is. Even when you
I know.
find history,
Hmm.
thousands
There's a
of years,
lot of
it's
erased history.
yeah. The whole
I don't know what they did with it, but they got rid of it, and then they're showing people other stuff, and we don't really know what's real history anymore because they destroyed so much of it. Like maybe it's not as old as we think it is.
Oh, it's definitely
Because,
not.
you
There's
know,
no way because it's
but
not
yeah,
biblical anyways. The
if you
Bible
follow
says how
Martin
old the earth
Leakey,
is.
if you follow
The
Martin
moon
Leakey,
isn't 238,000 miles away.
there's
We wouldn't be
no
able to
way.
zoom in on it with the P900 like that on a 2000 millimeter zoom lens. We
Yeah,
could
the
zoom in.
P900 is just,
It
I
kind of
mean,
proved
that
to me
alone.
that the earth is not, or the moon is not that far away. Like it's not,
Yeah.
we would not be able to zoom in on those craters like that or whatever those
Mm-mm.
marks are,
of course,
Yeah,
it's not
no way.
even anything you could land off. It's some kind of rendering. But
That's the first thing I bought was
if
that camera when I became
you're
flat. I
watching,
wanted to see for
right?
myself the boat phenomenon of boats going over the horizon. I needed to see it for myself. And then when I did it, it really sealed it for me when I saw that the boat was certainly not going over the horizon, that I was able to zoom back in on it, perfectly hull, water, everything. And it's like, wow, it really is flat. Like that was it. That was my moment where I knew for sure, and there was no turning back. You don't just switch back the globe. You don't switch it back
If
on.
you watch Martin Leakey, right, he talks about the fact that there was this big mud flood or a flood. It may not even have been a mud one, because now we're getting these videos where they're having earthquakes and then the land's moving so much. It's like a river and all these trees and houses are going past, even though the land isn't. So it's actually land's moving. So maybe that's what happened to us. But something happened in the 1800s. And actually, whereas the pictures will say, this is them building. They weren't building, they were digging out. So we obviously had some kind of reset or something happening then where loads of people died or moving. Maybe that's why loads of us went to America, and et cetera, et cetera. And then we've been recovering from that. But they were just as advanced before that, and they've lied to us. They had electricity. It's just a total difference. Like, for instance, that whoever built the
Yeah.
pyramid was far more advanced than we were.
Oh,
So
gosh,
other
yeah.
civilizations have been more advanced, and yet we think we're so advanced now, we know nothing.
Yeah,
It's funny
and
when we're
it's weird.
accused, right, of being so medieval that, we believe the earth is flat, yet they made those pyramids and nobody knows how they did it.
Yeah.
They think it's an insult, but actually they were smarter than us. So
Yeah, like
I
why can't we
usually
get
come
that
back with that.
technology? Like,
I come back with that every time when someone says to me, like, wow, you just throw yourself right back into the Stone Age practically. I'm like, well, actually, history does state that no one knows how they built those pyramids. So they actually had more technology than we do. So what are you saying to me? Is that a compliment? Thank you. I'm as smart as those people. I'm not going to be insulted,
I bet you when you
like
sort
that
of like
to my face.
flat Earth hit you, and okay, you can see things. I think the water's the biggest thing. When water can't stick to a ball and all that. Did you ever think it was going to take you this far, then, Becky or Bling Bling? Do you think it was going to go? You were going to like this? It would lead you to where it has. Like a lot of people are turning into like scientists, basically, and we've actually been sort of following Flat Earth Dude and who's the other one? Lifting the Lid, Robin, and they both talk to physicists, and the physicists have got nothing to say.
Isn't that great, though?
It don't even make sense. They've got nothing to say.
Yeah, because a lot of
so
people go
great.
back to what we learned in school. Like that's really the only evidence. Like people always say is, well, remember back in school. It's like, well, what you've been taught is kind of been a lie, and it's like you can't really use that as backup as you grow older. There's, you know what I mean? It's
What a
just,
waste it was,
yep, yeah.
school in so many ways. Everything that I know about everything is from my life experience, not from sitting in that desk,
Mhm.
as a little kid, trying to comprehend, being left-handed, trying to learn everything was so hard. Like him writing on the blackboard, this is how you make this C, and you're looking at their arm, and it's as though the
Yeah.
crayon is in the right hand.
I know I'm a left-hander too, and
Do
I
you
think I
remember the
started as a right.
frustration? They didn't
Well, it was weird. I think I
back
was
then
right-handed.
they didn't make stuff for lefties. They didn't have
Yeah, they did.
left-handed
Well,
scissors, they had
You get
nothing. And
scorned.
I almost failed my hairdressing exam because of being
Oh.
left-handed, because I was my mom had been my model for the 3 years in school that I took cosmetology, and I had to learn how to do finger waves, which is like a 50s hair design with a lot of dippity do in the hair, and you make these beautiful like waves that are like plastered right against the scalp. And I did a beautiful job with the finger waves. I was very proud of it, and so was my teachers. They thought I was so ready for this exam, and then the provincial people came in, and I had to recreate those finger waves, and I did a beautiful job. And she's looking at that, and she's like, darn, she says, these are beautiful finger waves, but she says, I hate to tell you this, but there's a terrible mistake in it. She said, you started on the closed end of the circle where you should have started on the open end. And she says, I see you're left-handed. It was an easy mistake. And I'm like, she said,
Oh wow.
you got 15 minutes to recreate them properly, or I'm sorry, you're going to
Oh
fail
my
the
God.
exam. I'm like,
Wow.
talk about peer pressure. But I did it, and I passed with the highest marks of both written and practical. I was
well
so
done,
proud of
Bling
it.
Bling. Well
But
done.
then I was supposed to get the trophy because I earned it, right? And the teachers called me in the classroom and they said, we're really sorry to tell you this, Christine, but because of your bad attitude towards your mother for the last 3 years, when you would get upset with her and you'd leave her sitting in the chair and you'd go home, they said, we're giving the trophy to Antoinette instead of you. And I was like,
Wow.
devastated. I had that trophy in my head with my name on it already, and my girlfriend down the street that inspired me to be a hairdresser had won that trophy, and I wanted to be just like Mary, and I didn't get it because I had a bad childhood, and I had a lot of resentment and anger towards my mom from the stuff that happened to me, and it was rightfully so, but I didn't tell the teachers that. The reason why, I didn't even know myself why I was so angry at my mom. But yeah, she'd start sweating in her menopause and her hair would get all wet. And then I'm trying to do a
Oh.
comb out and her hair is ruined and it's wet. And so I would get upset and I'd leave. I lived just 2 minutes away from the school. So I'd walk home, eat some lunch, come back. And she'd just sit there in the chair visiting with all the kids. They all loved her. She was very friendly, you know. So it was like, it didn't really upset my mom, but it upset my teachers enough that they didn't give me the trophy. So yeah, consequences. And I learned a hard lesson about consequences for our actions and behaviors at a very young age, and it stuck with me my whole life. So I learned what,
Do
you
you,
know,
if you're left-handed, do you use your right hand for a lot of things? Because
I'm extremely ambidextrous. You
but
have to be.
I actually hurt my left hand, and I just didn't realise how much I did with my left hand. Drink up my
Ah.
coffee, do whatever it is. I do masses of stuff with, brush my teeth. It just goes
Well,
on.
that is
But I work
unusual
my right
to
hand.
even
I
lift
do
your
use my right
coffee
hand.
with your left hand. That is weird. I just know that technology forced it in us. Like one of my jobs when I was a kid growing up was I was always a cashier, you know, in grocery stores, and the checkouts are always laid out the same way. You have to use your right hand on the keys and your left hand to scan. Or my first job, you actually had to type in the amounts, how much the products were. You know, it was like really, really out there, way out in the day before technology evolved. But yeah, you didn't get an opportunity to use your left hand for anything. So
What
you're
about you,
forced to be
Becky?
ambidextrous. She's probably the same way.
Well, it was weird because I played volleyball in high school, and it was a challenge because I was the only left-hander, and trying to learn taking steps the different way. But it was kind of an advantage for me because the opponent will never know because I actually am able to use both hands, and
Hmm.
that's and so they never expect it. They always expect a right-hander to hit a certain way. Then I come up with my
Exactly.
left, and then just like totally trick them the other way, and they're like, "What the heck is going on?" And they're not trained for that. So I felt like that helped a lot. But then, when I was growing up, it was kind of shunned that I was a left-hander.
Were you
In my
really?
yeah, it was really weird. I don't know if it's in the Asian culture, it was just, I don't know. It wasn't, they were always like, why are you using your left hand? Use your right. But earlier I was saying that I believe I was a right hander at first because my sister was drawing with her left. And you copy everything your sister or
Hmm.
siblings do. So I switched my hand to copy how she was coloring or drawing. And that's
Oh,
how I
that's
became a
interesting.
left-hander. I think
That's
that's what happened because
interesting.
I remember that very moment that I
Ah,
switched hands, and that was really
that is so
interesting. But
funny. No, I was born left, and my dad is a left-hander, and he told me that in school, he used to get into a lot of trouble, and that even hit his hand to get him to switch
yeah,
hands. But no, it wasn't going to
yeah,
happen. He wanted to be left-hander. That's where his brain took him, and he ended up being a left-hander.
yeah,
But yeah, my generation, and I was like born in '63, so I was in the '70s when I was going through school and like elementary grades.
Anyway, you have
Anyways,
Bling Bling. We
and
used to
no,
write the other way around as well. We used to write,
but
what did we write left to right? We used to write right to left, and they've
yeah,
changed it.
I had to learn how to
No, not
do all
now.
those.
Changed it over time. We used to write like lots of the other,
You wrote
other,
right to left?
yeah, we used
Well, it
to.
makes more
huh,
sense, really,
So it's
when
a
you
bit
think
hmm,
like we
about
were
it.
more right-brained, whatever it is, and now we're more
Uh-huh.
left-brained.
Uh-huh. But you
yeah,
know
it's
what?
strange.
With a lefty, when we're writing, our hand kind of covers up what we're doing, like
Yeah,
what
it
we're writing.
smears everything, or the spiral gets in the way, or
If you think about it, like where our hand is and the pen and how it's going across the paper compared to a right-handed person who's writing and they're looking at everything they're writing, like we can't see it because our hand's covering it. There's a
yep,
lot of disadvantages actually to being left-handed. There's no question. It can be a struggle, especially
yeah,
when you have to watch and do everything. Like I said, my teachers weren't clever enough to notice that I had learned how to do finger waves. Sadly, by them holding everything in their right hands, and here I am looking, and I did it wrong. I didn't start at the open end. I was starting at the closed end because I had to recreate everything with my left hand, and it's very difficult. So they didn't notice it. But I almost lost, I mean, failed the whole thing because of that. Those two people that were supposed to be my teachers, they knew I was
wow.
left-handed, stupid. But
I mean, if you did a
everything,
good job at it, I mean, I don't see
well, it's the
why,
thing. But
it's
yeah, it's like open end and
weird.
the closed end of a circle of a C. Think of
Yeah,
a C, and I
yeah,
was supposed to start at the open end of the C. So like, where it's open. I was
yeah,
starting at the closed end of the C, and
hmm,
that was wrong and a
hmm,
failure. Even though, yeah, it looked gorgeous. In fact, what I was doing is pretty much impossible because I
Yeah.
was going against the natural way the hair moves out of your head.
Mhm.
Your head moves like you start like which way the hair grows, and it's an open C. I
Yeah.
was making it a closed C. Like I don't even know how I was doing that, but I did it because I had to learn, right? A lot of things were harder for me, like yet I still
Yeah.
did it and did a great job, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't a good athlete in school, like volleyball, forget it. Basketball, forget it. The only thing I was ever good at was horses. I tried different sports, and it was frustrating. And nothing's more embarrassing as a kid when you're standing there and you're not getting picked for teams, and you're
Mm.
gonna, you know, I was never the last kid, but I was like in the middle of the pack. All the
Mhm.
good kids would get picked, and then I'd be kind of in the middle. Thankfully, I was never at the end or being the last kid standing there. I would have died. But
Oh
I
gosh.
hate those rituals for kids. I don't know if that is some kind of a learning lesson or something in life. It gets a hard knock, right? But it's not pleasant to be the kid. Yeah, sure, for the ones that were athletic, like they're first. They feel great
Yeah.
about themselves. They have high self-esteem, and
Mhm.
we didn't get that as someone who's not an athletic person. I was involved in horses from a very young age. At the age of 5, I started, and yeah, but how many other kids? I'm like the only kid that freaking showing horses. Like nobody's riding horses. So what if I was great at it? They were never going to see it.
Yeah.
I think one time I rode my horse into the city, and went onto like a street, not my street because that would have been too far, but a street where I knew a lot of kids were, and rode my horse up to them, and they knew me, and I was so proud. Like, look how cool I am. I'm riding a
Bling,
horse. Like,
Bling,
yeah,
can I say something? It's nearly 1:30 in the morning here. We're gonna have to round things up soon because
already that's
Oh
fine because we're
yeah.
just
It's
having a
still
good
late for
time
you.
talking about anything and anything
I hate
now.
to be a
Like,
bit stupid here,
this
but
is
it's getting on for like 1:30,
Yeah.
so we've been going
Wow.
since now. We've been actually on the hangout. I know we had a little bit of a break,
doesn't
didn't we?
even seem like it really
We've been
for
going
some
10,
I
reason.
11,
know.
1. We've been going for nearly 4.5 hours.
Wow.
I had Chinese food just to sit up. So
I know you did a massive thing. You did your nails.
I did some
I heard
nail
you.
work. I cleaned up. I made my bed
You
finally. I did
did
lots
the
of stuff.
laundry. You
I
you did
can't just
everything.
sit there. I go insane. I don't know how anyone can just sit there and hold the phone. Like back in the day where they had rotary phones and you were tied to
Oh
that phone.
yeah.
I couldn't have
Yeah.
done it. I just got to move around. I remember as a kid we had a long phone cord, so I would just walk around the house carrying that big phone, leaning against my hip, walking around, and I wanted privacy. I'd go in the closet, go climb up in
Oh,
there, and close the door. You had no
So,
cordless phone.
Becky, would you
Yeah.
come back on another hangout with us?
yeah, definitely. For sure. That was so much fun. You had a lot of people on today.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
awesome.
to start with. I know there's people in the chat room right now. We were actually on a hangout and my internet went. So when it went,
Yes.
some of the ladies needed to go. So me
Yeah.
back on the new one.
I might
But
be in
They would have
LA at that
stayed out of
time, probably
politeness.
next month.
They would have stayed had you
so
not
thrown
offered.
Linda to our hangout. She comes on
They
quite
would
a
have been
few
too
hangouts.
polite
But
to say no.
you, it was a bit of a
Yeah.
sort of being thrown in there with loads of women that you didn't really know. So well done, Becky.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Becky, I
I'll
must
be.
say, like, what was
Coming
your?
on a hangout when it's live as well, because you haven't even got a chance to say hello to everybody before you
I
get
want to know
going.
what you said that you said Asian raised in an Asian culture. Did you say that? Did I hear that
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. A lot of people
you,
don't think I am because I look a
well,
little
no,
mixed.
you're Asian, full Asian.
Uh-huh. I'm full
Wow.
Chinese, Taiwanese.
No, but you were
Yeah.
born
I
in
was
China,
raised
moved here.
here. I was
Okay.
born in Taiwan. I came here when I was 3.
So do you
So
speak
pretty much.
Cantonese or what do you do? Like, do
Uh,
you actually know
I
the language?
I do. I speak Cantonese, Mandarin, and Taiwanese.
Ah,
I
that is so
know.
Well,
cool. That is
Yeah.
so
I don't
cool.
get to
It's
practice
hard.
it, but it is hard
My
still.
my
I don't
son's
use
girlfriend
it.
will
say something in one of those. Well, say something in one of the languages if you don't mind, Becky.
Oh my goodness.
pick
Ni-
Cantonese. It's my favorite one.
oh, it is.
Say
Nei
I'm a
ho.
flat earther and proud of it.
Oh gosh, see, I'm not very like
Try.
fluid.
Try to the best you
No, I'll
can.
say
Oh, yeah, you haven't lived there
I'll
for such.
say
Oh, yeah.
Mandarin. Um,
Okay. All right.
你很漂亮. it means like you're really pretty.
That's cute.
I
My
am
son's
always so
girlfriend
embarrassed to
studied
speak
it.
it.
She studied
Uh-huh.
it, and they broke up now, but she used to always speak Cantonese. I'd be telling her all kinds of stuff to say, and I was fascinated that she's learning
Hmm.
this language, and she learned it so well that she can now work as a translator anywhere in the world.
Wow.
Yep, she's
Probably
a
better
smart
than me
young
for
girl.
sure. I
Well, she
cannot.
did it
I
like
am
for
not
her
fluent.
whole, schooling, 3 years of it, just dedicated. And she really, really immersed herself. And she went even to China and stayed with her family for a while. Like she really did everything. And
Wow.
Hey,
she
Wow.
Bling, before we
fluent.
go, are you doing any more videos?
Yes, I'm working on that one. I said like with I even gave some like said what's in it, some of the stuff. Like I know you always I really got a burnout. I had a burnout. That's why I'm kind of exciting to go to the conference to get remotivated all over again. It was just like when my kids got threatened their lives and it was
That's
like
so scary.
what the heck am I doing this for? Like, and I'm so easily found. Like, if you search, you will find my address. It's not
Hmm.
hard because
Me
the
too.
company I had, and it's like, dang, I'm doing like, yeah. And I've told people, got a 9 mil, okay, I got a Glock, come, and I'll show
I
you my
always say that.
skills.
Yep.
I'll show you my
Yep.
my gun handling skills. And my husband is a federal agent. Come, we got
Hmm.
guns. We got and I've got two dogs that would put their lives down for me, like proven it already. I
Yeah,
know
well,
they're not gonna
hopefully
go and
we
hide.
won't have to do that though, eh? We won't. Yeah, 'cause we don't have. You have to do that, and you kind of got past all that. But I remember, and she got some really nasty emails, and there's
Wow.
there's no need for all this. And in fact, it kind of
Threaten my kids
it
is
put her off
way.
looking at the messages because she didn't want to read all the horrible things.
I
But
couldn't. It was
Becky,
so much,
are you doing a
so
video?
much.
Are you?
Yeah. Well, Andrew does a lot of the videos, and I'm on the lives with him all the time. He does a video almost like every day, at
That's a
least
lot.
4 or 5 videos. Oh my
How does he
gosh.
even
He
get ideas
he
and content like to do
he
that?
is
And
crazy. I'm telling you.
I can't
He
wait to
is.
watch your channel. Like I'm really
It's
excited. As soon as we get
interesting.
off here,
Yeah.
I'm going to go and look at it and
it's
have a look. And make sure you sub
it's
me too.
interesting.
I'll say who I
I
am on
will.
your channel. And I don't know if you look
Yeah.
at your
Put it on there.
notifications. You know,
Yeah.
uh,
I'll take a look. Put it on there. Because I was
I'll
just
make
gonna
a
ask you how do
comment.
I sub everybody on there. But yeah,
And
definitely there's videos every day. Probably when we do the hangout again, I'll let you know. I'll be in
yeah,
LA, I
and if
think, at
you
that.
find one that you
So
think is
yeah.
like the one that's going to really showcase like everything that you guys know or close to it, let me know that one too, because that would be really
Okay.
helpful to get up
Yeah,
to
I'll
speed
send you
on
a
what
few
you
of
guys
the.
do.
Right.
That
I
would
know
be
there's a
so
lot,
cool.
so
It's quite
a
interesting
lot to take in.
that you two live really close to each other as well.
Oh, we're so I
I
can't
know.
believe
That's
it.
so
We're going to meet up.
crazy.
We're going to meet up.
I
There's no
think I
question.
remember. I remember seeing on the last one that you were saying you're in West Palm Beach. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like right here. I was telling Andrew, and I was like, that's so crazy. Because on the last, I
Oh,
think,
you were
ladies' night.
listening to
Yeah,
oh, funny,
the
right?
previous ladies' night. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So then
like
I was
I've
like, oh,
never
she's
met
in this book.
anybody like other than there's a guy in
Mhm.
Lake Worth.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody like, especially a woman. Like, it's like this is the coolest thing that's ever happened. Like, I'm so
It's all
thrilled.
meant to be.
It is for sure. Like, we're just blessed that we were able to be presented with information and that our minds are open enough to be able to look at it objectively, because that's a
Right.
blessing, because a lot of people are not blessed with that, and they're going to be forever slavitude towards a system that wants to kill them ultimately, wants to downsize the population numbers to such a small amount. I mean, they're in all that, and they trust these people with everything they've got. My husband would put his life down when he all those years in military, and still now he carries a gun with his job. He put his life down for that job, this job, like it doesn't matter. He's
Mm.
a patriot through and through, very proud American football watching. And I don't want to say beer swilling because a 6-pack could last him months in the fridge, so he really doesn't swill beer, but because he doesn't really drink. But he's just so patriotic to a world that he has no idea hates him that much. He has no idea. And maybe it's a good thing. Maybe he would be bitter in his job, thinking what he's doing
Yeah.
for this country, and they don't even, there's appreciation isn't even the right word. to these monsters, that are controlling everything. There is no word for that. So maybe he'd be angry. Maybe it is good that he's not, Maybe he'll snap. Like a couple of months ago, there was a customs officer that ends up being a serial killer. Did you see that?
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, he killed a bunch of women. I'm like,
Oh
wow.
my gosh.
And do you think they vet people? And my husband had to have how many polygraphs and all this stuff.
Wow.
And like I said, they come and check us every 5 years. I hate when they do it. It's like, and this guy still got through, and he just killed all these women. And he finally
Wow.
got caught, and it's a silly mistake he made. And
I think these things are happening a bit more regularly, but they don't make the mainstream. A bit like the Chris Watts one, and then suddenly someone like him will make it. But those kind of things are happening. They're just not reported.
there's
Like
murders every day.
that one was,
Husbands
and that
are
one's
killing their wives every day.
all over the thing. But Bling Bling, I have to finish. So
All right.
I just wondered,
Get some
as
rest.
we're finishing, ladies, as you two ladies are left, is there anything you want to say before we go? Like, what you're doing, or videos, or
I do have a video in the works. I promise it is going to be really, really great if I just finish it. Like I said, I got a little burnout. It's hard to be looking at everything, all of this, all the time without feeling a lot of emotions, especially a lot of bitterness for me against the government. And here I am, not even American. Could they say I'm conspiring, and I won't even get my citizenship because I'm a green card holder. I don't know, like it counts as here, but no, because my husband has even told me, like, be careful. If you want to get your citizenship, don't break any laws or you could get deported. It doesn't matter that you're married and own a home.
don't upset them too much, Bling Bling, over NASA.
Exactly. Until I get my citizenship, I really can't. I don't think I should be out there with a sign, Like,
that's true. That's true. You don't want to get arrested for anything.
No, I don't. Like,
what about you, Becky? What are you doing?
Well, we're definitely putting out a lot of new things, a lot of new ideas. So every day is something new, and if anyone could keep up with the channel, we just have so much information, and that's why it's so hard to pinpoint. But there's always new discoveries, and we're doing a few experiments coming up, so that's going to be interesting. So that'll be coming up.
Are they
we're buying a few things.
Them at like Juno Beach or something? Like, how are you doing your experiments in your backyard, or where are you doing these?
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of our captures are from our balcony, but in Juno Beach, we usually capture just a lot of cloud things out there, things that are flying out there that people don't usually see with your eyes.
With the P900? With your P900?
We actually have a Sony. It's like a mirrorless camera, and and we have a telephoto lens, and then we have 2 big telescopes. We have a lot of optics, and he loves it. So
sounds
like
it. Wow.
You'll see when you look at my channel. You'll see the type of optics we have. This huge telescope, as you know, Karen. And we do shooting every day. So we'll be doing a few things here, and then when we go to LA in about a month,
we're going to LA. Are you going to Denver?
We're actually driving across the country. I don't know the exact time, but I'm going to go to a friend's wedding, and then meeting up with a few of our YouTube friends that we met along the way, and then doing experiments with them. So just collaborating.
You should come to the conference. Like, you would meet so many people that don't know who you are, and you guys are a huge contribution to Flat Earth. Like,
well, I'll definitely look at if it's a timeline. Like if we're passing through, and then in LA, Andrew did talk about meeting up with Flat Earth dudes. So that'll probably work out. So we'll see. Because everything's kind of tentative.
The 15th and the 16th of November, though.
People want to talk to Flat Earth dude.
Yeah, he's amazing. 14th and 15th. Or no, the 15th and the 16th is the conference, honey.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, that's like right into the wedding week. So that's the only thing. I know. We're coming out right before that.
I'm talking Denver, Colorado, of all places.
Yeah.
Too. So, it's a shame that you won't be there, but you definitely have to get on with Patricia on Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, and do an interview with you and your husband. I'm sure Patricia would love that. Like,
oh, I know, that'd be awesome.
I'm gonna talk to her about you, like, in depth. Tell her how amazing it's. If she had been here tonight, which she was supposed to, but she's traveling, she definitely would be like, "Whoa, where'd you come from?" Like,
Yeah.
like, where have we
So
been?
Karen, I would have to get the links to all the girls. I don't think I have everyone's links, so I'll grab that from you so I can sub to everybody.
Sure,
Crazy.
I'll
Oh, and
email
Facebook
you, but
too. We have to
we've got
Facebook each
Bling, I've
other.
got to go.
Okay, I'm
Not
sorry.
there.
I
I've got.
talk to
Thank
her all the
you.
time.
Thank you so much, Karen, for everything, and thank you everyone in the chat.
Thank you. It's you ladies. Thank you, you ladies. And thank you to everybody in the chat room, and the fact that we're on 2 hangouts here because my internet dropped. But big hugs to everybody in the chat room. Mwah. And Angel Raven's just joined. So hello, Angel Raven. Yeah. So thank you very much from all the ladies, and yeah, flat earth hugs to everybody. And
Thank you.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.